How did we go from bathtub to battleground?
Gemini on Android, bro. Anything can happen.
Press to create videos.
Only on Android.
TVS Raider, the wicked ride.
Red Bull gives you wings.
Real MVPs are not born. They practice every day. For OP moves on the field and in life.
Duolingo English Test. Proud supporters of dreamers and doers.
Join Google Play Points, the loyalty program that offers you exciting benefits. Now earn points on every purchase. Play more. Level up to gold and platinum. And unlock exclusive rewards.
He was taken too soon.
I told him, lag, we have got Snapdragon 8 series Gen 3. Elite performance, unprecedented 144 FPS, zero stutter and heating.
And yet, he still tried.
A beautiful thing.
Bro, we're about to drop.
Just a second. I need to finish this video.
Ask Gemini on Android, it will give highlights.
Press for key highlights.
Only on Android.
Red Bull gives you wings.
क्या इस सीजन खत्म होगा सेंसे का ट्रॉफी कस? जॉनथन भी है तैयार. वीक 2 में गॉडलाई करेगी प्रहार. क्या जेनेसिस ई स्पोर्ट्स की हंटिंग वीक 2 में भी रहेगी बरकरार? इस बैटलग्राउंड के जंगल में एप्स करेंगे सबसे ज्यादा शोर. Watch BGMS Season 4 live on Jio Hotstar, Star Sports and Nodwin Gaming's YouTube channel daily from 5 p.m. onwards.
It's the week 2, day 4 in the BGMS Season 4, and I'm going to be your host, Caster. Once again, John alongside with me on the panel. It's Scared yet. And Scared, looking at the overall standings, it feels like now OG's once again back in that groove. We're seeing them do pretty good, and yesterday was a prime example of that.
I mean, back-to-back coming in from their side as well, and being the fourth team to finally pull that off too. Yes, I'd have to say, they're finally feeling back like themselves too, and it's not really been any shabby games which are only focusing on chicken dinners. They've always had double-digit eliminations as well, so that clearly proves that their consistency is finally being brought back.
And remember yesterday at the start of the day, REVENANT Park was sitting at the top of the charts with a remarkable lead, but now that lead is already faded away. REVENANT Park is now looking at a bit of that dicey spot, and it's a real big concern since yesterday's performance was missing from them.
I mean, we even were discussing about the same thing, that Sensei is bringing his team into nice positions where eventually some other team is taking the control and eventually taking the chicken dinners too. But it just comes down to the fact where sometimes REVENANT Park overcommits to certain fights, and that is, I think, so they need to eventually discuss among themselves and bring that patience in.
And even Genesis Esports, right? The same thing can be said for them. Yesterday's performance was not too remarkable from them.
Exactly.
It's not something you expect from the side of Genesis Esports. You expect them to go on bounty hunting off the rip. But yesterday's game, they were quite passive, in my opinion. Especially the first game itself. We did not see any action. No bodies dropping down in the first stage itself. Neither in the second stage. It felt like a raw competitive game.
It basically went down to the same thing, right? You mentioned that it was not really any kind of BGMS normal game that we've seen for the past 9 days. That day was specifically different day where teams were playing like they're playing any kind of proper competitive game, right? So I think so that is one of the big reasons why Genesis eventually had a big problem.
And since we've been talking so much about what happened yesterday and how the day really kicked off, I mean, overall, the game started off on quite the passive note. It felt like the teams have had a talk with amongst themselves, and everyone just wanted to go back to the basics and execute what they're known for. But once again, it started off in quite a massive fight. Especially FS Esports taking the fight against the players of Seoul. Later on, we did see Team Aryan as well pounce on with the third party, but then Marcos Gaming as well came through victorious as they eliminated everyone that was lying in that fray.
That northern part was an absolute chaos. It was the Battlegrounds, which no one expected it to be, but eventually it was Likitha Esports to try and close things out. And honestly, there were some choice words being said by Smoker as well for his team. It does kind of hint where there's still things that need to be fixed in the roster itself.
It seems like they're having some issues going on amongst themselves, and hopefully they get it fixed as soon as possible. But Seoul, yeah, I mean, they faced their foes, which is Team Aryan, and easily came out on top as well in that fight, as Knuckle was the one to find that final pin. And then later on, we saw NoNx as well take that fight against Marcos Gaming. But before that, Metal Esports made a pounce, and they got absolutely obliterated.
Yeah, it was about the timing as well, and they could not catch it right, but that can't be very wrong for OG because they had the perfect timing. Eventually the last 1v1 being brought for legit, and it was OG to win.
Exactly, and then we of course move on towards the map of Sanhok, where things got a little bit more spicy. 8-Bit getting eliminated with next to none points and one single spray down by the man of OG, and then God's Reign in the final few moments. Unfortunately for them, did not really have the zone, and OG had the zone advantage, and just like that ended up closing the entire game.
A big play coming in from OG for that one though, but since we were talking about the big plays, right, the last Erangel is an absolute massacre. OG were looking in a pretty solid spot and pretty solid form too, but it eventually was a Seoul versus 8-Bit sibling game.
Exactly, it's Seoul in the final few moments. Of course, it felt like for a moment that they are looking much more stronger, but 8-Bit was the one to pull the pin and close the entire fight in their favor, and they got the chicken dinner. These are the old leaderboards after the match 40, and of course at the top we've got Genesis Esports still sitting with 297 points. We've got OG on the second with 289, even Seoul right there on the third with 277, and Revenant X Park. Just imagine, yesterday at the start of the day, Revenant X Park was on top with a remarkable lead, but now they're on the fourth, which is quite concerning.
I have to say that, yes, I agree out there, right? From Group B, this team was absolutely leading the chart as well. And no one was really expecting them to be on top, considering there were also Genesis Esports who were slowly and steadily creeping up. I expected Genesis to cross a 300-point mark, considering the game that they were showcasing before that day. But yeah, yesterday was not a big one for them, but for 8-Bit, things couldn't be exactly opposite. Absolute bonker performance with a 47-pointer out there. But this is where the main trouble is, Necro. K9 being on the last, Reckoning, we've been talking about that. Meta NINZA as well on 18th.
Yeah,
problem.
Phoenix Esports, TWOB, FS Esports. I mean, FS Esports, this team and the officials, they had a lot to say and a lot to prove. And they did pretty good as well for themselves. But as you now move on over here, it feels like FS Esports, the transition is not looking that smooth. With the name, even the performance has changed.
I mean, it just falls down to the same thing that the team is not really feeling confidence among themselves. There's a lot of hesitation that we also saw right back when it was a fight near Primorsk or somewhere down the line of Ferry Pier where Trey Scott was the only man remaining, 4 people from Phoenix, and yet they did not eventually claim that bounty. So that's a bit of a problem for Phoenix.
And you know what, since we've been speaking so much about the bounty itself, well, let's have a look at the bounty hunters. I mean, it's 8-Bit, and they have hunted down OG, Revenant X Park, and God's Reign twice so far, which is absolutely remarkable. And the fact that OG as well is now able to establish that major comeback, even though Samraj was not a part of playing for, it was quite insane.
It's been absolutely impeccable considering even Beast is playing so very well with the team as well, right? And Radiant's IGLing has eventually led 8-Bit to be one of the big bounty hunters out there. Team should be careful from them.
Of course they should be. 8-Bit's in a red-hot form before now. Let's move on to the stage for a quick little interview with the boys.
The man is back. Good to have you, Somraj. And सबसे important, यहाँ काम की बात करने से पहले, let's just get one thing out of the way. How are you feeling?
I'm feeling much better. I was very sick and I was mentally exhausted. I needed a break और Destiny ने मुझे सामने से आके दे दिया. And I'm very grateful कि ये इतना बड़ा टूर्नामेंट है और मुझे एकदम स्टार्टिंग से एंड तक कभी खेलना नहीं पड़ा और मेरे बॉयज ने इतना अच्छा भी सब कुछ संभाला तो बस चल रहा है अच्छा.
Brother, चिकन डिनर निकाला और उस टाइम तुम टीम में खेल नहीं रहे थे, तुम यहाँ खड़े हुए थे. I remember that conversation really well. So what does that do? क्योंकि अब जब आप आ चुके हैं, आपकी टीम ऑलरेडी इतनी कंसिस्टेंटली परफॉर्म कर रही है, Does that add to the pressure कि यार यहाँ से performance नीचे नहीं जा सकती और बेहतर ही होनी चाहिए?
Back of the mind ये चीज़ रहता है, पर at the same time I believe on my team, I believe on myself. So let's see कि अभी से कैसा रहता है. अगर खराब मैचेस जाएगा तो ये लोग बोलेंगे, oh get back to your seat. हाँ, ये दिमाग में रहता है, but I'll try कि कुछ नया तरीके से और खेले और नया चीज़ फिगर आउट करें कि कैसे और पॉइंट निकाल सकते हैं और फाइनल्स में कैसे जा सकते हैं.
Something absolutely bonkers. It was crazy yesterday जब तुम्हारी टीम से मैंने बात की थी चिकन डिनर जीतने के बाद. एंड मैंने पूछा कि इस मैच में आज के दिन कौन आईजेलिंग कर रहा है, तो उन्होंने बोला नहीं इससे पहले ये कर रहा था, अब ये कर रहा है. There's been a little musical chairs जो खेला जा रहा है आईजेलिंग के साथ. अब तुम वापस आ गए हो, बट वी आर हियरिंग रूमर्स. ये उड़ती उड़ती खबर आई है हमारे विश्वसनीय सूत्रों से कि आज कुछ अतरंगी होने वाला है as far as आईजेलिंग is concerned.
देखो अभी बीजीएमएस का फॉर्मेट अलग है, सो अभी हमने भी रियलाइज किया कि ना मेरे को अभी लीड लेने का जरूरत है. हमें स्टार्टिंग में अगर फाइट्स मिल रही है तो हम लेंगे, उसमें चारों का इनपुट आना चाहिए. अगर मैं कुछ बोलूंगा वो क्या पता गलत हो और किसी के दिमाग में सही हो और वो सप्रेस कर ले अपने को, तो वो सही बात नहीं है, क्योंकि अभी लंबा टूर्नामेंट हम लोग एक दूसरे को समझ रहे हैं और वापस से नया टीम है. सो सब चीज़ को फिगर आउट करके वापस से हम लोग अपना एक बेसिक बनाना चाह रहे हैं और एक दूसरे को अंडरस्टैंड करना चाह रहे हैं.
7th on the leaderboard, just one chicken dinner, but performance काफी consistent रही है. You don't have to sweat, do you?
I guess अभी कितने अराउंड 20 समथिंग मैचेस बाकी है, तो देखते हैं अभी से कैसा रहता है. अभी प्रेशर लेने की जरूरत नहीं है.
प्रेशर लेने की जरूरत नहीं है, बट अ लॉट ऑफ अदर टीम्स विल बी फीलिंग द प्रेशर, स्पेशली अगर उनको लीडर बोर्ड पे जाना है उत्तर दिशा में, यानी कि नॉर्थ. वी गोइंग टू टेक अ ब्रेक. रिमेंबर 4 matches all on the OnePlus 13. Somraj is back. iQOO bit are bolstered. Let's see what happens on the other side.
What's the cheat code, bro?
No code.
So, a script then, or a bot?
No script.
All right, class. For today's lesson...
I already taught her something.
Unlock BGMI's new gold spin starting at just 10 UC. Limited time offer on Google Play.
How did we go from bathtub to battleground?
Gemini on Android, bro. Anything can happen.
Press to create videos.
Only on Android.
TVS Raider, the wicked ride.
Real MVPs are not born. They practice every day for OP moves on the field and in life.
Duolingo English Test. Proud supporters of dreamers and doers.
Red Bull gives you wings.
Unlock BGMI's new gold spin starting at just 10 UC. Limited time offer on Google Play.
He was taken too soon.
I told him, lag, we have got Snapdragon 8 series Gen 3. Elite performance, unprecedented 144 FPS, zero stutter and heating.
And yet, he still tried.
A beautiful thing.
Welcome back after that short break, and within a few moments we're going to hop inside of the first game of the day. And in this first game, still, once again, we've got a lot of question marks. I mean, there is that one group where we've got teams like Genesis Esports, K9 Esports, Mad Kings, Hero Extreme, Godlike, who will be a part of it. And of course, one thing is for sure, teams will try to go for that bounty hunt. If they're not going to, well, then there's going to be a lot of question marks in our head. And one thing is for sure, the teams on the latter half of the board should definitely go for that bounty no matter what. They do not have any excuses at this point.
You've got two teams out here who've got the bounty on top of them, Godlike and Genesis. So obviously it's going to be a big task to try and take them on. But here's the thing, it's an absolute massive reward out for you, right? Because we've been discussing about the bounty hunting teams out here. 8-Bit being one of the top teams who've been handling that, or rather I'd say manhandling the teams who've got the bounty on top of their head. And this is one of the big reasons why they were almost being dropped down to the third place. They were on the verge of that. Even after that, now they're bounced up and they're literally just 20 to 25 points behind being in the top 4 itself.
I mean, Group A and C is the one to kick things off. And yeah, I mean, look, at this point, we know that bounty system is also active. Teams are, of course, wanting to go for that bounty system as well. But generally speaking, man, the teams on the last page, they've got no excuse to not go for it.
True.
Even teams like K9 Esports, who we know pack a lot of punch, who we know has a lot of experience as well, and they can easily try and hunt down any of these top 4 teams. But K9 Esports is not going for that, and that's a real concern. It feels like at this point, a lot of these teams are mentally prepared themselves to directly go for the playoffs, which is not a good mental to have. At least try and aim for semifinals. What if you don't make it out of the playoffs?
That is one of the big things, right? And that's why I'm pretty concerned about all the teams on the last page. TWOB, Phoenix, and sometimes even for 4TR. These are the teams that carry a lot of potential, and I'm pretty sure that they can push themselves up if they try and move out of their comfort zone. But it's the comfort zone that they've got to crack right now. That's why, I mean, looking at this plain fly path as well, it is going to push out quite a few teams out of their own comfort zone, considering you can't really jump down towards Nova Ripnoi. There's going to be a bit of a traveling if you want to drop down towards Milta or Milta Power, even Query. So you might want to look at something up north. But we've seen this thing, right? That the circle forms on most of the times in the very opposite fray of the plain fly path. I'm pretty sure teams would eventually look forward to go there.
Let's see if that's going to be the case. And you know what? Speaking about Phoenix Esports, recently they have been showing a remarkable improvement. We are seeing them go for the firefights, actually win those firefights as well. And Goten, of course, the man is contributing quite a bit to the team. The remaining players as well, they need to step up, and especially Ash. I understand the man's the IGL, but IGL does not give you the excuse to not frag out. That's what I personally think. Even the IGL is supposed to pack some punch. Even the IGL is supposed to contribute to the team when it comes to the fragging department. It should not be an excuse for you to not go for the eliminations.
I mean, you look at Raiden as well from 8-Bit. Yeah, he was an absolute madman.
I mean, that's a different thing, right? I mean, Raiden was not like the confirmed IGL. Somraj clearly said it too, that the IGLs were rotating.
Yeah, that is true. I mean, that is probably what provides 8-Bit the lever as well to perform in the way how they were performing right now. But here's the main thing. True Rippers not really falling down all the way towards Nova Ripnoi since it was out of the reach. So eventually we'll try to go forward towards Zarki and places like that. And True Rippers has also been the team, right? We've been talking about them, how they haven't really been securing any bonus points. But their strategy is actually helping them out to be at least in the top 12.
Godlike and Mighty Los Hermanos. There's a chance the bounty can be grabbed. And Hero Extreme Godlike needs to be careful. Mighty Los Hermanos pretty quick with these drop fights. We know they're extremely good. But this time around, Hero Extreme Godlike, there's a chance they might just have the opportunity and the advantage as well. The only problem for Hero Extreme Godlike is that they do not have any vehicles around them. And Mighty Los Hermanos, they mess up big time. Blunder. Evil stops right next to it, Mino. The elimination point gets confirmed as well. And now Evil, he crawls back in the back, making sure that at least his teammates are going to have to line of sight on him. From the back, Mighty Los Hermanos trying to provide that core fire as well. And at the end of the day, it's Mino. You cannot really underestimate a player like this. Everyone from Mighty Los Hermanos should group up and make this pounce. Admino can't really do a lot, especially if it's a 1-on-3. And if all the 3 players push in coordinatively, 30 bullets in the Scar. He does not even have a lot of ammunition, a lot of resources to actually go for this fight. And where is the rest of the Hero Extreme Godlike? That's the main question. The remaining players still missing, and Admino is the only person who's brute forcing. And he's got a shotgun to play with an Admino. He fights the second strike. Mighty Los Hermanos getting hunted down by Admino. 2 players down and out. MyG lost Hermanos down to just 50% of what they were. And now these remaining two players, Spy and the boy, I'm not sure what they can do. There is Colin right there. Probably trying to close in that distance towards his teammate, but Punk, the man was hiding behind the tree, and MyG lost Hermanos. They've dropped too many bodies in this fight. One last man, Spy, and he's spying upon Admino. Playing this one extremely passive, waiting for Admino to actually push up and do something. Spy's right on the opposite end of this house. Admino refreshing up the barrel, and now it's time to make that pounce, and what a quick shot that was! The man does not even flinch, and MyG Los Hermanos is already eliminated from this game. That's swagger right there.
Tell me that it was one of the weekends as well, and Admino was the impact player. I kid you not.
Disgusting.
This man is mad. What a play coming in from Godmino out here. And the trust that Punk had in him, even though there were 3 players around him, he did not
I don't think it's trust. I think it's just Admino being that good. I'm pretty sure if Admino was knocked out, Godlike would have been messed up big time. But hold on to that thought, though. 8-bit. For them, things were not looking that good and dandy, but still, they're under control, at least as of now. Victor Sumus, they've lost out on that man, which is not a good start even for them, but at least 8-bit can go for that recovery. Smoke's tossed out. That's going to help him get that sustainability in the roster once again. It's all good in the hood, at least for now. And yeah, back towards that conversation of Hero Extreme Godlike and how Admino was isolated in that compound. Just imagine if Admino was knocked out.
Yeah, he
Hero
was
Extreme
done.
Godlike would have been messed up. Big time. That's majority of the firepower cut down instantly. So I'm pretty sure there was a bit of that miscommunication. There should have been the cavalry instantly the moment they realized that Admino is surrounded by 2 players.
And I'd still have to give it to Admino, man. The mentality of this dude is so insane. He knows that he's on the back foot, and instead of actually waiting for the death to arrive to him, he decides that he wants to surprise the other side out there and finds out the perfect timing to get those isolated duels as well, winning them with a pump shotgun. And man, those shots were crispy like anything.
Lightning fast, quick.
Super.
The man single-handedly carried the team in that fight. And MyG Los Hermanos is a tough nut to crack. They're not someone who you can take down just like that easily. K9 Esports, even they're on the move. For K9, they've always been dropping down on those individual men early on. And this time around, K9 just needs to make sure that they're keeping all the playing force safe intact till the final few. Victor Sumus as well, they got a bit of that individual blow from 8-bit as they lost out on one of the men. And now Victor Sumus needs to continue this entire game with just a 3-man squad. Hero Extreme Godlike, a massive 2-2 split that's going on for them. 2 players in Primorx, 2 players up north above Crore. And the zone, once again, starting to get stacked up with a lot of teams. It's a splash of color.
Clearly shows you that not a lot of early fights have happened out here. Overall, a total of 5 players have been eliminated. One of them being the entire team. That's of MyG Los Hermanos. And you mentioned that they are a tough nut to crack. I would agree. But for the past 2 days, I'd have to say, you know, they've been actually facing a lot of struggles in terms of winning those firefights again.
Oh no, Shadow.
That's a bit of a problem.
He needs to save his teammate somehow. Needs to toss out a few more smokes. And the fact that XOXO was able to find that connection through the smoke was insane. But Mad Kings, they're still taking a lot of damage upon themselves at this point. Unfortunately, the man gets confirmed as well. Even Shadow falls down. Mad Kings! Domino effect, mistakes after mistakes, building up on top of each other. And they're getting absolutely abused. And keep this thing in mind, the power play is still active for another 50 seconds. All the eliminations that you get will be doubled up, and even Global Esports is on the hunt. Troy! This man has got its number, and this time K9 Esports, they've messed up big time! Ninja Boy's taken down extremely low, but he's still got the vehicle that's helping him move as quick as possible. And Ninja Boy is somehow going to escape this territory, this fray.
Oh my god.
Where are the rest of his teammates? That's my question. Why is this separation there? And finally, we do see that cavalry approach. K9 Esports, all good in the hood as of now. Wants to blow up that buggy, or either the tires. Just wants to make sure that it's going to be absolutely useless.
Just really don't want to take that one vehicle with now. It's literally playing with fire, literally and metaphorically right now. They're still going to try and spray it down on that buggy as well to try and catch those players, but a big split coming in.
Oh no, overcommitment. And those were some nice shots.
Good answer.
Man down instantly. Ninja Boy did not even know what exactly hit him. Global Esports, quick on that trigger. And K9 Esports, now it's one of those moments where they need to try and settle down. A lot of shots upon the vehicle as well, and at this point in time, it's going to be tough for them to try and do anything. K9's repositioning.
They have to. The circle has just shifted up north entirely, and 20% of that unplayable still in the waters. So the shorelines are going to be a key point to fight. And the ones who go there first can have a good time out here right now. Though Phoenix, they're actually pretty close by to K9, and they've taken the compounds of Severny as well. It's actually going to help them for a while, but not long. Circle is evidently will shift away from that point. My focus is still on Genesis, who are all the way up north of Yasnaya Polyana, because they're not alone in this very late rotation. They've also got Reckoning. Not close by, but at least chasing them and kind of hot on their heels too. That's something you've got to be careful about. And then another late rotation coming from GE, who after that disengage just wanted to clear out all the areas around the Yasnaya. Wanted to make sure that there's no one coming in from that part to backstab them.
Metal Esports in the smack center. It's quite weird to see Metal Esports play this passive, right? It's uncharacteristic of them. They're supposed to be the aggressive bunch. They're supposed to push up close and do that damage.
I mean,
Adi getting his hands on a few tires.
I think so, you know. For Middle, I believe that one wrong decision yesterday on the map of Miramar, it has kind of struck their confidence. There's been certain problems happening here and there though, but a couple of engagements happening all the way around here. Genesis taking some shots on GE, and that's going to attract the attention of 8-Bit as well, who are close by, and 8-Bit are the bounty hunters.
They indeed are. Genesis Esports. Now they even are trying to move around the fray. Just barely breaching inside of the safety line, but Genesis Esports, luckily enough, at least as of now, there's no one nearby. A few teams a bit far away in the proximity. Even 8-Bit breaching from that same vicinity where Genesis Esports breached in from. And there's so many teams that's still alive. The zone's too small, too many teams to try and occupy. Now it has to be death toll. A lot of teams will be eliminated in this phase itself. Metal Esports was in the smack center as well, but they need to reposition a bit. Yeah. Now they're going to be on the edge of this upcoming circle. And as Genesis Esports, they move inside of the zone. Even they're taking a lot of shots upon themselves.
They're getting a lot of attention considering the vehicles they have right now. Just dodging Arden and now moving in from the crosshairs of FS. It's not really the perfect place. You've got to throw out the smokes. No hard covers to play with. No ridge lines that's going to protect your backlines as well. And in the other side, it's 8-Bit who are actually finding some success. Global Esports still firing a few shots here and there though. Aqua is going to be dropping back into the safety right now. There's just so many fights happening on every single place.
This is going to happen. There's too many teams alive. And the stage and the zone is too small. We've still got 15 teams up and alive. And out of those 15 teams, only 3 players have been eliminated. 2 from the side of Mad Kings and 1 from the side of Victor Sumus. That's a lot of players, a lot of teams. And Reckoning Esports, yeah, they will melt instantly. K9 Esports putting an end and putting that nail in the coffin.
Big one coming in for K9. They had to take care of this one problem because first it was Phoenix who was actually nudging them a bit. And then Reckoning decided to join in the exact same fray. And Reckoning following the same pattern of struggle even now. It's not really helping them out at all. And in terms of the firefights, we know what K9 is capable of. That's exactly what they pulled out right now. Over towards the southwestern fray as well. It's Aryan actually holding any kind of potential entry into that circle. So it was Victor Sermus to eventually fall in their crosshair. Let's see. That's been a bit of a problem coming in for their side. And it's 8-bit locking horns against the members of Phoenix out here in the open beast. It could be trouble to give him revival right then and there. So Archit is also trying to find a flank angle against 8-bit. Got to be careful about that. Goten is the closest one, and Goten has been winning all of his duels.
Indeed has been. Phoenix Esports locking horns with 8-bit. This is quite a problematic circumstance and a situation. Archit, Juthin, and Goten. Ash missing. And if I'm not wrong, Ash is still all the way in the back. But unfortunately, Archit goes down. The Blues on the move as well. But Phoenix Esports, they reply back pretty quick. As even a knock onto S-Power is going to suppress all the intentions of 8-bit pushing up. Phoenix Esports, this fight is now taken down to a proper 3v3. But still, the zone's going to be doing a lot of damage. And both these teams, they need to wrap this fight up as soon as possible. Move inside of the circle. Luckily enough, the zone's not too far away. It's moved around this area as well. But this blue zone, it's now starting to chip out a lot of damage, and this spray, it has to find a knock, and it does as well. But Goten, the man moved out too much in the open, and Phoenix Esports, they lose out on the main playmaker. Juthin still in the back, the man's chipped up extremely low. And Ash, he's not going to be able to go for that revival. Moves out in the open, positions compromised in Beast. He spots Ash in the open, and that's going to be a knockout as well. Massive mess up. And now Juthin left to try and clear things up and save the day for the boys. Beast is moving in tandem from the back slowly and steadily.
Whoa.
And what a nade that was! Brilliant stuff from Beast. The final man down, the nail in the coffin for Phoenix Esports. And honestly, Ash needs to start doing something.
He's got to start doing something, but right now, problems are not really over for Beast. He's got to give the revivals out to a couple of his players as well, and there's K9 Esports in the vicinity. They've not really decided to make a pounce on them right now, so you could eventually say maybe they're a bit lucky or maybe not. It's a bit of a problem happening here and there again and again. How can he eventually give any kind of revival right now? It's the open grounds in front of them. And K9 will just be grabbing onto those elimination points. 8-bit, even though they won the fight, but they're losing this war.
K9 Esports, look at them. Even they're in quite a decent spot. Strong one. Omega is a bit split from the pack, but hey, whatever rocks your boat. Beast is someone that can definitely be the backstabber. Curveball. And if Beast does find that opener, that's definitely going to dismantle the entire flow of K9 Esports. So K9 needs to be extremely careful of their backlines and the sidelines. Blues on the move once again, and so is Metal Esports. And right next to Metal Esports, there's Hero Extreme, Godlike, and Genesis Esports. And Godlike, they've already found the first knock. Gravity down and out. The man gets confirmed instantly. Hunter still around that fray. Jonathan and Gods playing in tandem together. These guys are doing a lot of damage. And Genesis Esports not able to sustain that damage is now starting to be a real problem.
So the nade flying as well, Zap. Him up against his ex-team as well. What a story this could be right now in that one shack, just one nade. And it's going to do the job for him. Now the fact is, since Godlike claimed that one finish point, that means they are the only ones who can claim this bounty.
And honestly speaking, we're also seeing a bit of that playstyle shift from Genesis Esports.
Yep.
This is not the Genesis Esports that we saw.
They're playing defensive.
And I guess, just like how Samrat said, right, there's still a lot more games to go, and a lot of these teams are trying out new stuff. Which makes a lot of sense. Get to know each other better, try out new strategies, new stuff, and maybe that's what Genesis Esports is doing.
But I'm not really a big fan of the result that they're getting.
Always keep on switching things up, I guess.
Probably. But if you've realized that there's this one thing that's not really working for you, I'd have to say sticking on to that for quite a long time might not really be the good way of doing things out here in the open FS. All the way down in the southeast, my goodness, as the circle takes a hard northward shift. Omega, he's got such a nice position in the circle. He's going to call his entire team to move up there. There's so many teams that are now going to fight down to these southern edges, and it's going to be a big problem for all of them.
Unbelievable stuff. What a knock that was. And look at these utilities, still so precise. Constantly chipping away, and K9 Esports now paranoid. They back away so much. FS Esports surrounded by Global Esports, and what was FS doing in this vicinity? Levi, the only man standing. Levi has always been the knight in the dark, and this time, he needs to be the one to shine through. But K9 Esports from the far fray will steal that shine as Levi is eliminated. He's not the Ackerman anymore, but now Global Esports, they've got another foe approaching them, and this time, this foe, it seems extremely strong. Within a blink of an eye, the entirety of Global Esports, they will extinguish into thin air.
Aimbot, just being an insane player for the team, destroys the entirety of Global Esports right now, and then they've got some open grounds up in front of them that they've got to traverse. A lot of teams that they'll have to deal with. One of the big ones is going to be K9 out here in the open, though it's True Rippers taking on Godlike. The numbers not really in favor for Godlike, but still, the weapon absolutely is. Admino and Jonathan working together, absolutely destroy True Rippers. It's only Harsh remaining all the way on the very far fray.
Disgusting stuff. Hero Extreme Godlike looking extremely good when it comes to resources, ammunition, everything is stacked. But the only problem for Hero Extreme Godlike is that Godsy's knocked out way too far away. Metal Esports, even for them, Scout's down. Metal, they need to get Scout back up. But at the same time, Metal Esports, they've got 3 players standing. Blue's also going to be on the move soon, so going for a revival on Scout is filled with a lot of risk, but still there is a possibility it can come through.
K9.
But that can also be a death trap.
Exactly.
Blue's on the move. Scout, the moment he's back up, he instantly needs to patch himself up, get back on that vehicle, and then traverse inside of the circle. And maybe that's what the game plan is. Shots are still taken. Scout goes down once again. And now going for the revival on Scout's impossible. It's useless.
It's already done. The attempt was made right there. But as I was about to say, it's K9 who's holding things strong against them. Eventually, it's going to be them moving back in as well as Medal's attention has been taken away by Genesis. One of the members was already taken down by Godlike, so there is no bounty that is active right now. But still, the members will eventually fall. 40R as well, firing their own shots against them. Genesis get absolutely destroyed. It's 40R and Medal working in unison.
It's a wrecking ball of Metal Esports that's wrecking anyone that stands in their way. And this time, as Ninja Boy's the casualty, his teammate as well might just be soon. Beast decides to just run away and let go of Ninja Boy because he knows winning that fight's impossible. He needs to respect Metal Esports. And Metal Esports, they're not someone who's backing away. They're establishing their dominance with a stark statement.
There's still one member of Genesis remaining, and we've known the shenanigans of this dude. We've seen how many times he can pull some random stuff up. It's not really the rabbit out of the hat. He normally pulls out a dinosaur out of his hat.
How is that even possible?
That's something Hunter does always. Getting a chicken dinner in a 2v1v1 was also not possible for him to get a 50 banger for his team. But guess what? Even a 1v4 against K9? That's a pterodactyl out there.
Hold on. Well, Hunter's too exposed. I guess you pumped the man up a bit too much.
Probably.
And you also cursed him in the way.
I'm pretty sure they've cursed themselves out there considering the performance that they've been giving for the past few days. Though, but
yeah,
at least
they only managed to get 1 elimination. And that's just 1 point, by the way, because that was not grabbed in the power play. And probably a few placement points.
2 points.
Which is 2. That's just 3 points out of this game. Genesis Esports, constant losses.
Yep.
And you cannot afford to be in a negative points tally. Especially if your flow is looking bad. You need the consistent point flow of at least 7 to 8 points per game. And at this point, Metal Esports under heavy fire. There's no way this MG3 is going to be stable with that 4X.
I love the MG3.
Yeah, but with that 4X, it's going to be tough.
What if? You may never know.
Yeah, I mean, the crosser's going to be all over the place. Fine.
That's true.
And maybe he will find a few random connections.
That's why he's not really fully spamming it as well, right? Just tapping it a little bit out here, though. But here's the spam coming in. Harsh!
Once again, putting an end to Hero Extreme Godlike. This is the second time he's done it.
That is big, to be honest, because the rest of the members of his team were taken down by Godlike. It's more or less like a revenge coming in the exact same game out here right now, and they send them packing home.
Hirsch is the God Slayer.
Fair.
Slaying them down over and over again. And proving he is one of the best out there. 4TR, this can actually be their game. Patience paying off. This passive gameplay somehow is paying off. Unless if they lose a fight against K9 Esports. But 4TR does have the man advantage, and they do have the positional advantage as well. It can work pretty well.
Depends on where the circle is going to pop up next. I agree, they've got a pretty solid compound to play with, but this compound can also become their graveyard if the circle shifts away.
Oh no, K9, they're exposed. And I'm pretty sure 4TR, the moment they find out that the third team's eliminated, which is True Rippers, 4TR is going to start to spread themselves out, which is going to be the best possible thing they do. But a 2-2 split can actually save 4TR. And can actually get this chicken dinner easily as well.
Oh my god.
4TR knows where K9 Esports is, but they do not know where that third team is.
That's the main thing. They don't really have an idea of how many players are remaining as well from each team. K9 should know. Circle still popped up on both of them, so it's only going to be Harsh who'll have problem. He does not really have a lot of geographical grounds to cover some way. The real estate is just all grabbed up. Nothing he can do right now will eventually help him out to get more position points. Maybe he can try and ruin the game of one of those teams by getting one knock, but apart from that, nothing. It's more like which team is actually going to get the elimination of Harsh.
4TR. Looking around the fray, K9 Esports still pinned in that spot, and now that one man from True Rippers, there's no way he's going to be able to survive. And the moment they eliminate that player from True Rippers, 4TR will know that that vicinity is extremely clear. Look at Hirsch. Slow and steady moves. He's not exactly sure where to go. And that's a big concern and a question Hirsch is moving in with. He does not know where to pierce in from, which makes a lot of sense too.
Oh, geez.
And he's actually going to directly run in the open arms of K9 Esports. This is not the place. Hirsch is messed up big time, and it will be Slug to put that nail and claim that elimination point. K9 Esports and 4TR, now it's time for them to lock horns, and 4TR should split themselves up. If they're playing a proper game of BGMI, if they know what to do in this situation, they should go for a 2-2 split and try and cover as much ground as possible, because that's what K9 Esports is doing. And K9 is doing a phenomenal job, but staying pinned in this compound, it's not the play. Trust me, it's not the play.
Next few seconds is all we need to see now. 15 and the next circle will pop in. If it's on 4TR, K9 Esports is done and dusted. And you mentioned about the exact split, right? Yeah, they've sent out all the smokes as well, and they're sending a player, Morty, all the way on the other side. Now this is going to create a flank angle, and this will create problems for K9.
But they should send one more player. Slug. Oh, the man's taking a lot of damage, but what was that name from Slug? It finds Morty, but a return nade as well shuts down Slug, so it's completely fine. Morty's job was to bait and switch, and the moment the man got baited, Slug's position was noticed. Slug goes down. Now it's a 3-on-2. 4TR still with the man advantage, and they know exactly where the remaining two players of K9 are.
Oh, wait.
This is the main reason why you should have went for the split, and they did it. But in my opinion, if there would have been two players, things would have been much better.
Absolutely, because now it's a risky play from Omega 2, but he still can get the revival in. Only because Slug was able to get that knock onto Morty, and the confirmation was also there. So all the advantage that 4TR created, it's been entirely lost. And I agree that this should have been a 2-2 split. But K9 playing it to absolute perfection right now. The circle is still going to be on top of both of these teams. Iron of God all the way up, moved up as well. That could be big.
4TR, they're messing up textbook classic. How do you lose up a fight like this? There's no way. And now it's taken down with 3v3. Oh my god, 4TR. If you end up losing this fight, I'm going to question the IGL for sure. Like, what was he thinking in that scenario? I think the textbook classic definitely says go for a 2-2 split. Send two players a little bit far away so that they can get the baits. And at the same time, much more intel. And even if one of the players did get knocked out, the second man would have instantly got the revival. And there would have been two players all the way back in the compound, constantly firing down all the players out in the open from K9 Esports.
Exactly.
4TR had the advantage.
And I think so this is where Z got supposed to step in as well and tell about all of this intel as well to the team that, yeah, I know the rest of the members, they don't really have all the experience that Z God has. But he should be the one to tell that this is the best possible play out there right now, though. Here we go. Everything's going to be done and dusted in the next 2.5 minutes. As the blue is slowly making its move as well, it will push you out. It will make you force your position to be revealed. All the clothes are being dropped now. All the bags are being dropped. The East is slowly crawling up and ahead. This man is all the way up in the top 10 leaderboards as well. And he can eventually show himself up right now though, but it's slug to fall down first of all as Beast fires a few shots.
They lost.
Trades are coming in. Omega also gets a knock in on the other side though, but it's still down to the last 2v1 as well. Pain can win it. Z-God as well is ready to answer back, and it's the IGL of K9 who stands up and gets destroyed. 4TR win out. A big 3v3 standoff.
That was such a massive knock from INF God. Winning that duel on the right side, that was insane. And if INF God would have lost that duel, 4TR would have been done with the fight. The man was barely surviving on a pixel of HP. That's how close it got.
My goodness.
4TR. Look, I know they won the game, but things could have been much more cleaner. This was shabby. This was insanely scrappy. But luckily enough, they did not mess up. They got what they deserved. They got the chicken dinner. But I do have a lot of question marks in my head, especially towards the IGL. Whoever's IGLing this team, I'm pretty sure things need to be changed. They need to start thinking a bit better.
Because things almost got out of their hands. Everything was in their favor, the numbers, in all the beginning, but eventually they were able to close things out as well. And having a look at the final blow, was absolutely played perfectly out there. Pain is like standing strong, but let's see who's standing up from 4TR for the interview.
इस टूर्नामेंट में कुछ भी हो सकता है. If you thought कि शायद कोई टीम जिसको आप फेवरेट मान रहे थे, they might walk away with the chicken dinner in the very first match. Well, you're in for a surprise. I've got Z-God here. Final battle के पहले एक भी finish नहीं थी Z-God. और वो एक finish आया. I think हमारे casters जो हैं, they also were touching upon this point. How important, जैसे उन्होंने बोला, कितना महत्वपूर्ण था वो finish.
आई गेस हमारी टीम के लिए तो बहुत ज़्यादा इंपॉर्टेंट था क्योंकि थोड़ा फर्स्ट वीक में बहुत ज़्यादा स्ट्रगल हो गया था एंड सेकंड वीक का हम यही स्टार्ट सोच के आए थे कि कैसे ना कैसे चिकन कन्वर्ट करते हैं, टीम का मोमेंटम बिल्ड करते हैं और फिर आई गेस फिनिशेस के लिए जाएंगे. तो अभी हमने वही किया, चिकन.
We've seen different sort of strategies क्योंकि ये टूर्नामेंट इतना ग्रूसम है कि अगर आपने थोड़ा सा भी पेडल से अपना पैर हटाया सो यू कैन लूज योर वे. चिकन डिनर निकालना जरूरी है. मतलब टू फिनिश हायर अप इज ऑल्सो इम्पोर्टेंट. जब चिकन नहीं आ रहा था तब क्या बात चल रही थी टीम के बीच?
तब बात नहीं चल रही थी, गन चल रही थी बस इधर उधर. हम सोच रहे थे कि मारना किसको है. फाइट ट्राई किया हमने, फिर जोन ट्राई किया, बट कुछ वर्कआउट नहीं करा था. तो फिर हमने सोचा कि थोड़ा काम एंड कंपोज रहकर खेलते हैं और चिकन की तरफ जाते. तो हो गया.
4 टीमें ऐसी हैं जिनको मिलेगा एक गोल्डन टिकट टू डायरेक्टली गो इनटू द ग्रैंड फाइनल्स. एंड देन वो जो टीमें हैं जो पोजीशन नंबर 5 से लेके 12 पे होंगी, उनके लिए रास्ता जो है फाइनल्स के लिए और लंबा हो जाएगा. सो व्हाट्स द प्लान नाउ? अब यहां से आपकी टीम 4TR के लिए क्या रास्ता बन रहा है?
फर्स्ट प्लान यही रहेगा कि टॉप 4 फिनिश करें क्योंकि अभी भी इतना डिफरेंस नहीं. अभी भी हम इतना गंदा खेलने के बाद भी ज़्यादा डिफरेंस है नहीं. एंड आई गेस एक वीक से भी कम टाइम में हम कवर कर सकते हैं अगर ऐसे ही खेलते रहते. तो अभी फोकस वही रहेगा कि टॉप 4 में फिनिश करें.
गंदे से अच्छे हो गए हैं 4TR वाले. Z-God, थैंक्स सो मच बडी. पहला मैच डन. इट इज 4TR who walk away with the chicken dinner. 3 बाकी हैं. What are the rest of the teams doing? We'll see after the break.
we're about to drop.
Just a second. I need to finish this video.
Ask Gemini on Android, it will give highlights.
Press for key highlights.
Only on Android.
TVS Raider, the wicked ride.
Real MVPs are not born. They practice every day. For OP moves on the field and in life.
Duolingo English Test. Proud supporters of dreamers and doers.
Red Bull gives you wings.
Join Google Play Points, the loyalty program that offers you exciting benefits. Now earn points on every purchase. Play more. Level up to gold and platinum. And unlock exclusive rewards.
4TR after a scrappy final fight, they finally do get the chicken dinner. But generally speaking, man, K9 Esports, they had a massive chance the moment 4TR messed up and they finally found that first knock.
I mean, that was a big play, right? We've been even discussing about the same thing during our break as well, that how it could have been a very simple way to play with a 2-2 split, considering they had the compound, they also had the high ground. Just stealing my words out there. But yeah, I agree. It was a chance being made for K9, but I'll still have to say, considering from where they were coming in and the position that they had, they eventually got out the best that they could have got. Yeah, it eventually went down to the last 1v2, but it's absolutely fine. Coming out second year as well, getting a few good amount of eliminations too. I think so K9 are going to be happy with their performance, considering how badly they were facing those defeats previously.
And yeah, exactly. That was my point, right? That's what I was about to say about K9 Esports too. And since this is quite a good game from K9 Esports with a decent amount of elimination points in the top 2 as well, and they also had a decent bit of players standing in the final few moments. For K9 Esports, this can be one of those games that can fill in that win in the sales that we'd really want K9 Esports to have. Being on the last page is not something you expect from a banner like K9 Esports. You always want them to be there on the first half of the board.
I 100% agree, man, because this is the entire lineup that we've seen perform on so many different occasions and so many events out there as well. Yes, there's been some changes in terms of the IGL too, but the main core combination has always been the same. Ninja Boy, Beast and Slug.
Hey, we've got the MVP of that previous game lining up, and this time it's going to be Admino. I mean, with the way he dismantled the entirety of Los Hermanos, shutting down those 3 players towards the compound without even any of his teammates helping him out, that was absolutely insane. And in my opinion, that was a 1v3 right there. Yes, the teammates were there, but they were extremely disconnected. So, yeah, Admino just single-handedly pulling that fight, carrying his team from that fight. Then later on, you've got Beast right there from K9 Esports with 3 rescues, and Z-God with 1 finish since he was the finisher in the final moment.
The only finish that he's eventually managed to get as well, right? It's been a long time since we've seen Z-God back in action as well. I still remember last year in BGMS when he was playing under the banner of Godlike as well. There was one big moment when he clutched up a 1v2, 1v3. I believe it was on the map of Miramar too.
And that was the first game he was back as well.
Exactly. Him being back with the first game itself, that was the performance. So I still kind of remember that Z-God. So getting just 1 finish, it's kind of underwhelming, but at least it's some start.
Of course, it's some start. And that you move on towards the highlight as well. Of course, the never settled moments from OnePlus. And this is how the action really kicked off. Admino off the rip, just eliminating the players of Los Hermanos. And of course, a little bit of a goodbye in the end. Mad Kings, for some reason, they messed up big time themselves, since Mad Kings could have done a lot better. But Mad Kings lost out on those 2 players. We saw Shadow. For some reason, the man was out in the open. He wanted to save the down player, but that's not how you do it.
Yeah, even Clutch Squad as well out there. Both of these experienced players who should have been the ones to eventually be in those good positions. That's where you are getting caught out there, but it's absolutely fine. Things eventually went pretty smooth for 4TR. Yeah, Omega's not really happy about that result, but yeah, can't really have done anything in that circumstance. It's absolutely fine.
Look, the disappointment is completely fine because Omega knows that could have been their game.
Yeah.
It's only because INF God won that duel. If INF God would not have won that duel, it was done. 4TR would have lost that game straight up, and INF God was barely surviving on a sliver of HP as well after that duel, so you know how close that was, and that was a chicken dinner differentiating moment right there. But if you move on towards the match rankings, 4TR of course on top with 18 points, Hero Extreme Godlike on the second with 16 points. At least they've got the consistency brewing up, but 8-bit Genesis Esports, FS Esports, Los Hermanos, I mean the consistency is dropping down for them, especially for Ritor Sumus getting 0 points out of this game. That's a waste game right there.
Entirely wasted game out, yes, I agree. But only the good thing about them is that they've got the next 3 as well to play in together. Having a look at the overall ranking. Finally, Genesis Esports have hit that 300-point mark with a 134 finishes, 102 bonus points. That's the highest bonus points any team has right now in the top 8.
Exactly. The second page pops up on the screen, and on the second page now you finally see K9 Esports, a massive leap taken from them. They were all the way on the last page, and now K9 Esports on the 15th spot. That's a decent bit of leap that they've taken with 176 points, but still the moment you cross that 200 points marker, that's when you got to start feeling good.
At this point now, I'd have to say, even it's not just about 200-point marker, considering you've got 207 points, you're still on the 17th spot technically, so you need somewhere around 230, 240 points now.
The only reason why I said 200 is because you need a bare minimum be in the top 12, right?
Yeah, that's also true. That is one point that I kind of agree. So that is something where you would feel good, but considering it's K9, man, we don't see them focusing on the top 12, bro. We see them focusing on the top 4, if not the top 1 place.
That's what I'm saying, right? K9 Esports, in a raw competitive game, they're aggressive, and in BGMS Season 4, they're passive. How does that make any sense? I mean, BGMS Season 4's format is supposed to force you to go aggressive, but K9 Esports is playing that passive defensive gameplay, which is honestly making them struggle and slowly and steadily strangle. But for now, it's time for us to toss to a short break. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
He was taken too soon.
I told him, lag. We have got Snapdragon 8 Series Gen 3. Elite performance, unprecedented 144 FPS, 0 stutter and heating.
And yet, he still tried.
A beautiful thing.
How did we go from bathtub to battleground?
Gemini on Android, bro. Anything can happen.
Press to create videos.
Only on Android.
TVS Raider, the wicked ride.
Real MVPs are not born. They practice every day. For OP moves on the field and in life.
Duolingo English Test. Proud supporters of dreamers and doers.
Red Bull gives you wings.
What's the cheat code, bro?
No code.
So, a script then, or a bot?
No script.
Alright, class, for today's lesson.
I already taught her something.
4TR and K9 Esports, after finding that lost momentum, they need to continue the same domination in the map of Miramar as well. And if that domination is not continued, then we all know what's going to happen. Once again, we'll see that fall in the overall standings, and all that rise that we've seen in that previous game will be next to none.
Only 2 games for the Group C and Group B out here. Group A will play 4. So yes, 4TR will need to continue their domination on this map as well. One of the OG maps of Miramar. Long time love for a lot of teams out here. But considering this is one of the OG maps, right? And we've been talking about how Somraj is now being brought back into the lineup. We've always talked about how Somraj loves to call on this specific map. Considering when Raiden was giving out the calls, I'd have to say 8-Bit was performing very aggressively.
That's what I was about to say, right? The moment Somraj is back, his team is on the latter half. So that's a bit of a problem, I guess. But Somraj clearly mentioned himself, right? There's still a lot more games to go, and he's going to be trying to bring something new on the board. He wants every single one of his teammates to make those calls. He wants to hear everyone, and he's going to use these games to pretty much get to know each other much better.
Absolutely. That is one big thing, right, that you can do better. But right now, there's one thing that can actually make your game better, and that's going to be the OnePlus CE. It's got one of your favorite, Necro. It's got 120 FPS gaming, and it's also got an absolute beast of a battery.
Exactly.
7100 mAh battery in Nord CE5. You can have up to 9 hours of non-stop gaming.
That is crazy. But also keep this thing in mind, the players are playing on the OnePlus 13. Which is also something that does pack a lot of performance and buttery smooth BGMI gameplay as ever. But once again, let's move on towards the upcoming match, which is going to be the map of Miramar. And this time around, guessing the winner. It's quite tough, so I'm going to let it up to you, my friend.
Wow, give me the tough task out here, big boy. Alright, absolutely fine. You know what? I'm actually going to say, and I'll be a bit more bold, I think so True Rippers can eventually get this one, considering every single day they've basically made sure to get a check-in, and hopefully they don't get stuck by some kind of lightning in form of some other team out here. We'll have to see as the plane takes the fly all the way up from Monte Nuevo, going all the way down to Al Azhar. Pretty centric plane fly path, to be honest, if you really think about it, considering we've seen very static planes either entirely shifted towards one side or maybe sometimes entirely shifting towards the other. And then we've got the circles as well, which Shadow really loves to call whenever it moves down towards the watery areas and you can't really play properly in those circles. Team's taking an early exit right now. Phoenix moving all the way towards Trailer Park. El Pozo is going to be a territory 8-Bit will have their control of. Down south as well towards Chumasera. We are seeing True Rippers drop in. Considering Orangutan is not playing this entire group, they're going to have that one spot for themselves, so should be good. Greater Fields as well, it's going to be Team Hadrian trying to move up there. Middle taking an early exit somewhere around the members of Team Hadrian. Got to be pretty careful. We've seen yesterday as well that they had a very nice opportunity to convert a game into a big one, considering they got an early elimination of a squad out there. But eventually, one of their haphazard decisions is where problems began. But right now, the main problems are down in Picardo. Global Esports up against the members of 4TR, the winners of the previous game. Absolutely ready to take this fight head on, though. The compounds have been divided. The big stadium is going to be for 4TR, while a couple of buildings in the center is where Global Esports are going to be standing in. Not quite sure if they're going to have a full-fledged utility, though, but a bare minimum of a couple of weapons and maybe semi-scrappy armors out there. Spraycode has been actually kept quiet for a long time now, Necro, because we haven't seen that beast-like performance coming in from him that we actually saw in the first week.
Yeah. And it feels like Global Esports, they're trying to rely on every single person that's there in the roster. They want to execute team plays over godly plays, over solo plays, which is understandable. 4TR off the rip with a fight against Global Esports and Manya. His hands were too busy. Did not even have a shotgun equipped in his hands, and that's why Manya gets picked off the first. He did not even hear the man approach him. I'm not sure what's going on there. But 4TR, they've already started things off with a massive advantage. But Global Esports is not someone you can count out just like that. Global Esports was playing this fight extremely defensively. Morty almost messed up with that nade placement. I'm not exactly sure what's going on with the players of 4TR, but they're panicking. And this panic situation is also making sure that they're going to be burning through a lot of utilities. And what an hit that was. Try shut down. Spray God right around the fray. Even the man gets taken down. One last man standing for Global Esports. And what am I watching? Why is he shooting his own teammate?
He's like, get the heck out of there. I want to catch the next member.
Oh, the panic is real. 4TR's panicking, but they're still somehow winning the fight. And now, here comes the pounce. Adi hears the footsteps approach him, and he also sees the players approach him slowly and steadily. And Adi now is just holding that cross, but the players in the front, they've got the shotguns to play with, and Adi somehow is able to find that first opener. He's able to thread that needle. Two players in the front, one man's got the shank in his hands, and 4TR, with evil mind, they're ready to take down the last man of Global Esports, but still Adi, he wins that duel. Gets the fresh magazine in the micro Uzi as well. There's still three players standing in front, and Adi, he wins that second duel as well, but 4TR, they eventually closed things out because they had the man advantage and they overwhelmed the last man of Global Esports. But man, that still got too close.
It should have been a bit more cleaner out there. Again, some hesitation coming in from 4TR. Some micro mistakes out, just like what we saw in the previous game as well. That one guy going isolated out, INF God, alone. Should have been a 3-2-1 go together out here, considering there was no shotgun on the other side, and it was an Uzi. So yeah, I mean, that spray could have got one, but the second one should have gone in for an instant trade, but still lose one member.
So I guess now we can clearly say that 4TR is not that good when it comes to closing things out.
Nope.
They always panic. They always struggle. The communication's lacking, for sure, and massively, by the way. On this stage, having that many errors, that's unforgivable. And I'm pretty sure they're going to be facing a lot of problems in the future. If they continue to play like this, they need to patch this comms issue.
It's almost similar to what we have to do in our math exam, where you write every single step correctly till the last one. And then you do a 1 + 1 3.
And speaking of OnePlus, we've got the Nord 5 as well. BGMS, snappy, smooth 144 FPS, which is just starting from 29,999. Insane.
Fantastic device.
I'm going to get my hands on that device as well. And 144 FPS for 29,999, that's insane.
That's the best part about it. Best part about this Miramar is, though, that unconventionally we are seeing a lot of early fights happening. Out there, Kanan, up in the open. Beautiful play from Termi. Racks up one elimination. Quickly getting the drive-by over to the one player out, up on top. There's one. You'll figure that one out as well, but the close one is where you'd have to eventually worry. Termi, you really want to go up alone out here? It's Ninja Boy up in front of you. That could be a problem, as Aimbot is also down. And Aimbot has been the heavy fragger of the team as well. Termi moves up, and the pump shotgun does not help him out.
That's massive. But Termi and Aimbot, both the players are down, and now K9 Esports with the remaining two players. Even they want to apply a bit more of that pressure. Damage is dealt equally, and K9 this time around, they're not going to be backing away. Instead, they push up even more. Middle Esports, even they're down two players. K9 Esports as well, down two players, but unfortunately for K9, Ninja Boy is now going to be the only man standing. K9's dropped too many bodies. Ninja Boy, the only glimmer of hope left standing. And Ninja Boy, if he wants, he can go for the revival, but no! Instead, the opponent's boot froze, and Ninja Boy, what a flick that was! Turns around in the back, shuts down the second man, and Ninja Boy moves up and now sticks that revival on towards Beast. How did this even happen? How did Metal Esports let this happen? This is a massive mistake, and if K9 Esports, they get a second shot at life, I'm pretty sure they will try to make it worth it. Ninja Boy does not have a lot of HP, but he does have a lot of meds, so he can't patch himself up for days. Scout's healthy on the opposite side. But can he really save the day for the team? That's the question. Scout in a 1-on-2. We have seen Scout struggle in these type of situations, but this time, he does find one, but that's all he needs to be satisfied with.
Beautiful performance coming in from K9. Ninja Boy, he was outside of the house. It was Beast who was up above the stairs. He gets knocked down. Yes, instant cover coming in from Ninja Boy. He drops in as well to push the players back. 3 knockdown coming in from Medal, giving the isolated duels, and then the revival game comes into play. Beast, what a nade, cooked up. Fantastic.
Incredible stuff. Dionysus and Javin next to each other. Genesis Esports. Even they lost out on a man, which is
someone.
A hefty thing. Mind you, lost Hermanos. Shadow in the front. The man instantly goes back inside of cover. Mad Kings, they've got all the 4 players on the board, and they can definitely punish the players of Mind you, lost Hermanos. But shots not connecting. Or at least the connection wasn't enough to find the knock or do anything critical.
Oh, I mean...
Hey, a barrel roll in the end, right? Why not?
Not the prettiest one you'd want to do, but...
I think that was pretty clean.
If only. Something that was also clean was the pan coming in from his power onto one member of Adrian. I believe it was Cyrax. All the way over towards water treatment while we were covering the fight of Medal and K9. That's when that eventual engagement happened. A 2-for-1 trade eventually. For 8-bit. But still, again, it's technically the same thing out here though. Bit of a problem coming in.
Yeah. Mind you, lost Hermanos. After having a bit of that rough start. And you know what? Let's talk a bit more about Mind you, lost Hermanos. Especially with how they started things off in the BGMS Season 4. And now that transition towards the Week 2. Yeah, Mind you, lost Hermanos' performance has definitely dipped down by quite a lot.
It's more like they've become Maiji lost Hermanos. With the way how they've been playing. Haven't really been winning any of their early skirmishes out there as well. And Phoenix, though, they've been feeling themselves for the past one. Nice shot coming in. And it's Jatin this time to stand up for his team. And Adrian sent packing home.
Barrel stuffs the man down. Phoenix Esports, in a remarkable way, winning that fight. But now Phoenix, they need their Erangel with them as well. Where is Ash? The man's once again far away from the remaining 3. I understand it's a 3-1 split, but whenever Phoenix Esports is doing it, for some reason it feels like Ash is disconnected. Every single time. He just does not really have a lot of contribution towards his teammates. This time around, 8-bit, since they lost out on Beast, even they do not want to full commit to this fight because they know Phoenix Esports has a man advantage. A 4-on-3 is better not to be executed, especially in an uphill way.
When you have to make that uphill climb. It's a, trouble coming in from their side though, but finally, K9 as well, not really getting anything more out of this engagement. Already losing on to Vanaways, sends out a utility, drums down as the rest of the members destroy Ninja Boy.
Oh no, K9 just getting 4 elimination points out of this one. A rough game. But look at the Esports. Oh, Inferno trapped behind this box. He cannot even move a lot. And soon utilities are going to be tossed right behind the player as well. And that's what has happened. Inferno needs to move, and that's what he does. He pulls out the Mini 14 up close and personal, but it's a DMR, not a shotgun.
He just had no other option out there. Just decided to go in for it. Couldn't have gone in for any kind of heals as well, but it's Maiji lost Hermanos. And their first elimination, though, hasn't been pretty. They already lost on Evil, and we know how big of a player Evil is for this lineup. That one fight against Soul on this map a couple of days ago, it was Evil to clutch it up for this team. A 2v3 that was to be converted from their side. So yeah, that's been problematic out here right now, but the Bounty Hunters are on for it again. Genesis this time around on their target. Instantly getting another finish. But I'm quite sure that Genesis's one player was taken by someone else, so might not really get the bounty.
8-bit. Once again, a breaching point's needed. And 8-bit knows the breaching point they've got towards the zone. It's not too rewarding. They need to cross on towards the opposite side, but the moment they do so, there's also a lot of teams on the opposite fray. So how does 8-Bit traverse? I'm pretty sure that's the thing Somraj is currently wondering and asking his teammates as well. What do we do in this given circumstance?
Up north. But the next zone will not favor them.
Exactly. It's not a good breaching point.
All the good positions have been actually occupied if you think about it. My Los Hermanos have got the truck stop. Godlike have got the hill on the east of truck stop. I think so. These are the two prime positions, and also this one cliff where Victorious Sermus are staying.
I mean, especially True Rippers with foes lingering around them. It's a bit of a concern. Yo, backing away. NFS Esports, they will make sure that they're shaking away the players of True Rippers from this vicinity. And True Rippers as well accepts the fact that there is a foe lingering around them. They need to reposition. But here Extreme Godlike, man, they've got a supreme spot. This position they've controlled, it's insane. And here Extreme Godlike needs to stick to that. Phoenix Esports, this is not a team you can anyways underestimate in a firefight. Recently they've been feeling themselves, but Ash, he needs to contribute a bit more. He moves up against the players of Mad Kings, and that is one of those fights that will be quite interesting too. But here Extreme Godlike, they did find those 2 knocks against FS Esports, and that is quite massive. FS Esports once again on the verge of losing this firefight. Who would have thought a team that did so good in the officials is now going to be struggling in the BGMS Season 4? I never would have imagined. FS is a team that made a massive statement, and that statement now is fizzling away. Unforgivable, unacceptable. And here Extreme Godlike is constantly punishing them, and even True Rippers, they're constantly ripping them apart. It's a massive sandwich that they've found themselves in, and Jonathan from the back, he finds another knock. FS, there's no way they're going to make it out alive from this spot.
Had to commit to one fight, they decided to run away from both. And they're now being sandwiched. Yeah, it's a massive problem coming in for FS, but they are not surviving that pickle. 40R after winning that early engagement. Zagod has moved up close to, again, one of his old squads. Feels like there's one player in every other squad that has played in Godlike.
Pretty much. But look at what's going on the screen. Reckoning Esports against Genesis, and this is one of those fights that will help the players of Reckoning Esports stand their case. Recently, their performance has been on a downhill curve, and Reckoning Esports, they need to win this fight no matter what. Gravity is holding his own angles, but someone needs to thread the needle. Someone needs to find that knock, and that's what Genesis Esports is desperate to do. Reckoning Esports playing it extremely defensive, waiting for the players of Genesis Esports to make some sort of mistake. And even Genesis Esports, it feels like they're getting eager. They really do want to do something, but Genesis Esports just does not have enough clarity.
There should be a clean fight for them, because if not, then 8-Bit are lurking in the shadows for a third party. So regardless of what the result would be of this fight, every single one of them will have to give in. 8-Bit are like those calm hyenas. Som is a bit far away from the rest of the 2 members, but it's iQOO and S power. They can see everything. They know everything. The winner will control the north of the circle. The king in the north.
Pretty much. Genesis Esports right in front of 8-Bit 2. This trifecta of death, it's now getting too awkward. Someone needs to break the silence. The entire lobby is silent.
You're bored.
Not bored, but I just want to see some action. Come on, it's BGMS Season 4. You need to go for it. Nothing's happening. There's so much open space once again. And I guess one of the main reasons of nothing happening is also because of the terrain. But Phoenix Esports, they're the one to kickstart things against Mad Kings. But even Jutin goes down. Now it's down to just Ash and Godin. These 2 players, They need to save the day for themselves and also the teammates. And the third party, there's also going to be Victorious Sumus that move in close. So Mad Kings now is in a world of trouble because they found themselves in a massive pickle. Phoenix Esports still with a chance and a possibility to escape from this spot.
Denju also falls down for Mad Kings. That is problem. It's not just one but rather two now. Down onto their feet as Victorious Sumus find out every single one of them. Combined with Phoenix, they destroy Mad Kings. And Phoenix now down with 3 members. There's the big thing, right? Goten getting 3, Jatin getting 3. Ash is yet to open up the back account as well. On the other side is Genesis firing some shots. All the players in one vehicle, I'm not a big fan of it, but as long as the terrain is like this, as long as you're in the covers, you can be safe, but this is not the way.
Who was the driver? I just want to know. Who was the driver?
Ash.
Was it Ash?
He drove till the last second.
What? Why did he slow down when you know you're getting shot at? Phoenix Esports, if you keep on making mistakes like these that are extremely rookie, you are not going anywhere, my friends. You will be at the bottom. You have the firepower. Do something. Play well. Ash is not able to contribute to anything, and that is a major concern.
Seems like they've got to capitalize on the multicam feature right now being offered on Geo Hotstar to see how the top 4 bounty teams are performing.
And what is Ash doing now? He's pushing up all by himself.
Cooking up a nade.
And this is not good for Phoenix. What was this call made from Ash? This is so questionable. And now put in such a bad spot. Phoenix Esports, yeah, they've got nowhere to go. Ash seems absolutely lost. The man smoking himself out. He just wants to stay alive. He's got the off angle that he's holding on top of the door. And I highly doubt anyone's got any sort of intentions to actually push up.
They're going to try and hold it down, though. That's one thing, but
why was there a disconnect between Ash and Jatin pushing up? Why did Ash push first and then Jatin move from the back? They should have pushed in tandem. But hold on to that thought. Victorious Sumus. Thunder the man's ship down low. They've still got 3 men standing who are looking extremely strong. The fallen man, the revival's there, so Victorious Sumus, they will get things under control. It's looking okay for now. And Genesis Esports, since they're hearing so many footsteps around them, I'm pretty sure even soon they're going to be greedy and maybe push up.
2 major clusters now formed in. One in the up north, second in down south. True Rippers, Godlike, 4TR. They're all the way down south, while Victorious Sumus, Reckoning, Genesis, 8-bit. They're going to be holding down the commotion of top and the circle. If it takes a centric shift, it actually does. It's a dead centric shift. Every single one of them will be out of it. Apart from Godlike and True Rippers. And True Rippers are playing with a 1-2-1 split. iQOO again. He's got one single job, and that is to stay alive.
And once again, now a massive spark to the ignite inside of the city. But Genesis Esports, they still stand strong. Zap with 2 quick knocks. And Reckoning Esports on their knees. Last man in the front, pouncing around like a rabbit. And Genesis Esports, Zap. This man, he's pulled off an insane move, but even 8-bit's gonna try to move up close and personal now. Third party this fight. Everyone can hear those footsteps, and Zap! He turns around and zaps another man down! That's 2 players! Massive casualty on the hands of 8-bit! 8-bit, they do eliminate the final man of Reckoning Esports, but losing 2 players like that! Zap, this is insane! 9 bullets in the magazine. It's time to make the pounce. It's time to rush. And 8-bit is trying to go for the reset. They're trying to go for the revival, but Zap, the man was a bit too late. Revival was squeezed in just in time.
Last second to help them out as iQOO will patch him up as well, and now will move in Reckoning. Got Dionysus remaining, though. Ash was sitting in this exact same position when he was destroyed. And now it's Dionysus. And guess what? Once you move out of here, you've also got Victorious Sumus waiting out for you. Dionysus gets the knock. He will ruin the game of 8-bit. Still wants to try and find one more out there, as up on top will remain the Zeus and his bodyguards. Raining down lightning. in the form of bullets. Sionis cannot move anywhere now.
He's trapped inside of that house. No possible way to make an escape. Dionysus gets eliminated by Cheyenne. That's Reckoning Esports down and out as well. Victorious Sumus. Once again on the verge of pulling off another chicken dinner maybe. And now the fact that Hero Extreme Godlike, they've still got 3 players standing. There's 4TR right behind them, and Levi from FS Esports, the only survivors right there too. 8-bit Samraj was able to make the great escape from that weird pickly spot, and the man's alive.
He's alive as well, and maybe he can eventually find some time to try and spend to unlock the next Sinistra set. Starts at 10 UC only. Looks absolutely cool, I'll have to say. Hopefully he does not get distracted by that right now because he's got to focus down on this game. Just one last player remaining from his team. And I like the call from Victorious Sumus as well. They've sent out Oasis and Thunder all the way down towards south. They're occupying the terrain perfectly. The only person they'd need to worry about is going to be Hydro from True Rippers. Somraj can also act as a spoiler, but I'm pretty sure they should have an idea about him. They did see that vehicle go in that direction.
They probably should. True Rippers. It's one of those moments where True Rippers as well might just be the one to actually snatch this one away. Samraj, Cheyenne, too far away from the zone, especially Samraj, since he's the only man standing. I highly doubt he can actually cross on. But 4TR from the back. Now they're tickling the players of Hero Extreme Godlike. Even Victorious Sumus, they're a part of this fight. Hero Extreme Godlike, it feels like now they're going to be the center of attraction. Yeah, luckily enough, the bounty points will not be claimed by anyone. So that's a different thing. But 4TR, they're starting to toss out those utilities against Hero Extreme Godlike. And if 4TR ends up winning this fight, it will be massive. But Gods, he threats the needle. He finds the most crucial point, and he wins that fight next to Jonathan.
Also shuts down Z-God as well. Jonathan putting an end to the misery of his ex-teammate out there. But can they survive from here? True Rippers, they've got all the members that they need. Not really the lot of finish points, but the position impeccable. And the only team that can actually pose some problem is going to be Victorious Sumus. Godlike all the way down south. They've got some terrain to play around for this circle. It's about time the fight eventually breaks out. Somraj is going to be spotted out in the open. Yeah, try and run away. Oh my goodness! Bro is literally getting a loan of his luck from the future.
Indeed. Victorious Sumus. Always Cheyenne Thunder. Right next to True Rippers now, and Hydro, he gets knocked out. An important knock. True Rippers. This was the only team that was supposed to be the 4-man strong squad, but now even they lost out in a man. And just like Victorious Sumus, even they've got 3 players standing. Hero Extreme Godlike with 2 and 8-bit with just 1. And somehow Samraj is still alive.
It's a good position in the circle as well. Stage 7 though. It's going to get even more small. The question is, can he survive after that? We've known this dude to pull the survival shenanigans like none other.
Insane.
Multiple times that too as well.
Yeah, but Samraj needs to climb up now, and that's where the real problem lies. And I don't think Samraj is going to make it out alive, especially while he's in the midst of making that climb. There's no cover. There we go. How is he alive? Okay, wait, what? There's no way. How is he alive? Oh my god, he's still alive.
Oh, Waze, you did not just do that.
Samraj is just dancing between the bullets. Call this man Neo from Matrix. You've got to be kidding me. Always, that was a free 1 point right there.
You've got to play the song right away, the one in which Hrithik Roshan's dancing out in the rain in the movie Koi Mil Gaya. Because that's what he's been doing out here, moving left and right.
10 finishes for Victorious Sumus so far. A massive game's booting up. Here at Extreme Godlike. Looking against the players of True Rippers, and especially for True Rippers. But the high ground they've got, they definitely do want to convert the most out of it. Hero Extreme, Godlike. Even they've been playing it extremely passive. Samraj, somehow the man's still alive. And I'm pretty sure Always knows that Samraj is on the left. The only reason Always gave up is because I'm sure he does not want to embarrass himself even more.
Oh my god. What is it with Miramar and players whiffing the shots like none other, man?
I don't know, man.
Arren, now Victor Sumus. It's crazy.
Can Samraj even make the climb? I don't think it's possible.
Nah, it's
the man's stuck. And this is also the final zone, by the way. So yeah, Samraj is done for. I'm pretty sure Samraj is just playing to be either in the top 3 or the top 2. Top 2 is impossible, so top 3 is something that he's aiming for. That's also going to be the realistic expectation.
Yeah.
But True Rippers, now even they're going to start a move. The blue's on the back, and it's going to force the players of True Rippers to make a move on the board, and that's what they're exactly doing. A lot of smokes tossed out in the front. They've also got a Vico to play with, so that's good for True Rippers. Even Hero Extreme Godlike laying out a lot of smokes.
Hit markers are going to be the key right now, True Rippers. As they try and focus down on the rest of the members. They've got a bit of an advantage out here though, but it's Cheyenne to get both of the members. Godlike rather. Almost on the verge of elimination as Jonathan still stands. But how long can he survive is the big question, as the inevitable clash between True Rippers and Victor Sumus will take place in the next few seconds.
Jonathan's trying to keep it quiet. He's trying to play it as silent as possible. And there's also Samraj alive, by the way. Maybe not anymore, since the play zone has engulfed the man and finally eliminated the player. So he did manage to get himself in the top 4, which is not a bad spot to end things on, especially from the side of 8-Bit. And Equinox, yelling there.
He's happy.
Yeah, I mean, top 4, it's a decent finish. 8-Bit also had an okayish amount of elimination points. Jonathan's trying to play it as passive as possible. The man wants to keep his position anonymous. And he's just waiting for the right moment to move out. And maybe now it's going to be that moment.
Cheyenne.
You can see Cheyenne, he's keeping his eyes pinned on Jonathan. And the moment the man moves out, he will be eliminated. Jonathan moved out right with the blue. Could not even do in that given position, honestly.
Oh.
But at this point, True Rippers, they're starting to drop down like flies. Thunder and Cheyenne pushing tandem, and Keo in the front. He's still able to strike both the players down. This is massive from Keo. Now it takes the fight down on 1v1. The man needs to heal himself up first, though. Does he have enough time for a first aid? There's Groza in the front.
Ooh.
And Always barely wins that fight. Too close for comfort. Keo almost could have executed that 1-on-3 in the end.
If he had just a couple of more seconds to put the first aid, that was definitely coming through. And that's why you see the happy faces on the side of True Rippers, because they almost pulled it off. But man, oh man, what a clutch up from Victor Sumus as well. Spreading themselves out down there in that last circle, getting that map advantage after Jonathan was taken down. Cheyenne and Thunder pushing together.
Yeah.
That was a big play, and then Always standing up, winning the first fight. It paved the way.
I like that move made from the side of Victor Sumus. Thunder and Cheyenne pushing in tandem, that was the perfect play. But who would have thought Keo is going to turn around and slap the 2 players down like that? But even Zap from Genesis Esports, what a play that was towards El Azhar.
True.
Taking down 2 players of 8-Bit, shutting down 1 man from Genesis Esports. That was insane stuff from the guy. And especially he was the only man standing. We did not think he would be able to do that much damage, but he still did a remarkable amount of damage. Before now, let's move on towards the stage for a quick interview with the boys of Victor Sumus, since they've found the momentum once again.
Victor Sumus, Always भाई, मुबारकबाद, आप लोग जीत गए. एक सेकंड, यूजुअली दिन शुरू होने से पहले आप लोग हंस खेल रहे होते हैं, मस्ती मजाक चल रही होती है. अभी थोड़ा सा माहौल सीरियस हो गया, क्या हो गया?
अरे मतलब लास्ट में थोड़ा ऐसा एकदम टेंशन हो गया था ना. लास्ट 1v1 था मेरा, तो थोड़ा माहौल सीरियस हो गया था. फिर जब 1v1 निकला, उसके बाद थोड़ा रिलैक्स हुआ.
यार आपके स्प्रेज इस मैच में हमने देखे बहुत प्यारे थे. रोजा के साथ कितना प्रैक्टिस करते हो आप? ये
पहले तो नहीं कर रहा था, बट अभी 2 दिन से कर रहा हूँ.
और वो देखने को भी मिल रहा है. फाइनल बैटल में जो 4 टीमें थी, सोमराज अकेला था, गॉडेल भी थी, जॉनथन जो है वो एक्टिव था, और ट्रू रिपर्स जेली की टीम. क्या चल रहा था उस टाइम पे आपके दिमाग में, क्योंकि आपकी टीम जो है पोजीशन वाइज एंड मैन एडवांटेज वाइज ज्यादा स्ट्रांग पोजीशन में थी?
एक्चुअली हम लोग सब लोग 3-3 मैन थे आई थिंक. टीआर भी 3 मैन थी और हम भी 3 मैन थे और गॉडल शायद 3 मैन, गॉडल 4 मैन थी बट उनका एक बंदा मैंने पहले ही मार दिया था, तो हम लोग को आइडिया था कि वो 3 मैन है और गॉडल को जोन में भी आना था, तो हम लोग ने पहले गॉडल को मतलब टारगेट किया कि वो जल्दी मरे पहले, ताकि हम टीआर से फिर फ्रीली फाइट ले सके.
शुरुआत हुई थी थोड़ी लड़खड़ा के, फिर आप लोगों को शायद मैप पे पता लग गया कि कहाँ जाना है, और अब BGMS का ये मैप जो है थोड़ी कंसिस्टेंसी देखने को मिली है. चिकन डिनर भी आया है. क्या अब थोड़ा सा सेटल्ड महसूस कर रही है आपकी टीम?
हाँ, मतलब फर्स्ट इरेंगल में थोड़ा हम लोग टारगेट हो गए थे, बट कोई बात नहीं, हम लोग ने इमोशनली खुद को कंट्रोल किया और सेकंड मैच में चिकन निकालने का ट्राई किया.
वैसे यार तू हंसते रहा कर यार, वही हम को अच्छा लगता है और उसी की आदत है. विक्टोरियस सुमस विक्टोरियस हियर ऑन दिस मैप. लेकिन अभी बाकी टीम्स का क्या हश्र होने वाला है पता लगेगा बाकी 2 मैचेस में ऑन द अदर साइड ऑफ द ब्रेक.
He was taken too soon.
I told him, lag, we have got Snapdragon 8 series Gen 3. Elite performance, unprecedented 144 FPS, 0 stutter and heating.
And yet, he still tried.
A beautiful thing.
Bro, we're about to drop.
Just a second. I need to finish this video.
Ask Gemini on Android, it will give highlights.
Press for key highlights.
Only on Android.
TVS Raider, the wicked ride.
Real MVPs are not born. They practice every day for OP moves on the field and in life.
Duolingo English Test. Proud supporters of dreamers and doers.
Red Bull gives you wings.
You forgot to charge your phone. Why won't you wake
हम बिगिनिंग हमेशा नहीं था स्टार, यूसी लेने से पहले सोचता था 100 बार. डर था बड़ा स्कैम्स का, डाउट थे हजार, तब प्ले ओपी आया तो लगा ही नहीं पर, तो मैंने लिया यूसी सेव गेम किया रेस. प्ले मेरे साथ यहाँ ड्रॉप्स एकदम हार्ड, प्ले तेरे साथ ओपी तू भी कर ले स्टार्ट.
Victor Sumus as well, finding that momentum, and today we're seeing a lot of bounce backs in the overall standings, right? I'm pretty sure at the end of the day, we will definitely see a lot of fluctuation since teams on the top, they're not able to perform that well.
100% agree to that, because even if you notice Hero Extreme Godlike, they had the circle advantage,
Yeah.
that everything lined up for them. but it was in numbers. They didn't have the numbers advantage. Hero Extreme God, like, they lost onto a few of the players at the very early start of the game. Even the players of Global Esports, an early exit for Global Esports, this is pretty shocking. Where is the consistency?
That too against a team like 4TR, who was panicking while they were taking a fight against Global Esports. And generally speaking, it feels like Global Esports was lost in that given scenario. Manya did not even hear the footsteps approach him. He had a nade pin in his hands, and the moment the opponent made the push, Manya got instantly obliterated, and right there, the opponents had the man advantage, and they knew. 4TR for them, they knew it's going to be their fight. They can easily move up and claim those elimination points as well. And to kick things off with 8 points, it's quite a good deal for a team like 4TR, right? And since they are also moving up with that consistency, it's great. But Victorious Sumus, yeah, they always do find these chicken dinners once in a while, but I want to see them perform consistently well. I want to see them perform aggressive this time around.
Could be possible. This was actually a very high fragging game for the players of Team VS. Initially also they started taking few initial fights, got extra elimination points as well. But this was pretty decent game for the players of K9, who were previously struggling in the last few days. Because if you notice, Ninja Boy did contribute a lot in that particular fight. But one lad contributed a lot in the entire game. He was always from the side of VS. 5 finishes and 33% finish contribution.
Always. I mean, whiffing those shots on Somraj was a different thing, but still the man did have a lot of impact for his team. And on that game, 5 elimination points secured from Always just by himself, with damage dealt is going to be 997. Insane stuff from the man. Ash is going to be the rescuer since he got those 2 rescues for his team. And then 5 finishes once again. Always is also going to be the finisher. He's right there with 1 assist as well. Always the IGL for Victorious Sumus. He's doing pretty good when it comes to fragging department as well.
Yeah, he has been doing great. The entire team of VS has been looking quite confident in the past few days, but few teams are still on the struggling side. Yes, it was a good moment from the side of Ninja Boy and his teammate, but still it wasn't a convincing fight which K9 is capable of pulling off. Especially this was the moment I'm talking about. Ninja Boy was the last man standing. He went on to revive his teammate, and later on it was actually Beast who completely eliminated the entirety of Metal Esports. What's happening wrong with the players of Metal, by the way?
Yeah, I mean, Metal Esports, at this point, it feels like they definitely do have the firepower. We're seeing the 3 players do extremely good for Metal Esports. But sometimes when it comes to a clutch situation, Scout is not able to clutch those moments, and it's not the first time that's happened. It's been happening over and over again, and I really feel like all the 4 players need to be on that same page. I understand there's a difference of the roles as well. Scout's playing the support role, but still, I feel like the contribution needs to be much more balanced. It should not be just the 3 players fragging out and 1 man just extremely far behind. If a little bit far behind is fine, but extremely far behind, that's a concern.
But a team is really feeling comfortable. I'm talking about the players of True Rippers. If VS is doing a comeback, I think True Rippers, they're also pretty consistent with their performance. Every single day, they get at least 1 chicken dinner. If not a chicken dinner, at least a podium finish. And in the match ranking also, we can see 4TR with 15 points, but VS with 25 total points on the top.
I mean, VS, of course, 25 points. Solid stuff. 4TR, yeah, that 1 squad wipe against Global Esports off the rip did give them a lot of points. And 15 points in total. That's insane stuff from 4TR. That's consistency maintained. 8-Bit as well getting 10 points. That's good stuff. True Rippers getting 10 points. Decent stuff. K9 Esports, 8 points. They managed to wipe out the players of Metal Esports in the power play. That's why they got those 8 points. So it's okay performance from K9 Esports. Even they have managed to maintain the average and get a decent game in this one.
Likitha Esports, concerns are for them as well. MyG, an early exit, just 2 points. Likitha Esports, yesterday only they got a chicken dinner. They are also not consistent with the performance. But looking at the leaderboard, now we have got Genesis, Hero Extreme Godlike, Orangutan and Team iQOO Soul in the top 4. They have got the bounty on their heads, but RNTX, even there is a dip in their performance, but nothing to complain. They are close to that top 4 spot. God's Reign on 6 with 269 points. 8-Bit, because of yesterday's performance, they have solidified their spot in the top 8 with 267 points.
Yeah, even Global Esports got 0 points off that previous game, so you see them on the 8th spot, barely hanging on the cliff. Victorious Sumus, slow and steady moves on the board, and soon in the upcoming game, if Victorious Sumus does perform, there's a big chance Victorious Sumus might just topple over Global Esports, and if Global Esports does not perform, well, they are going to be shifted all the way down to the 2nd page. And the conversation should be around teams like MyG Lost Hermanos, FS Esports, Mad Kings. The performance diff, it's clearly visible, and it's a massive dip as well. MyG lost Hermanos. In the week 1, they were winning fights left, right, and center, taking advantage of the power play, taking advantage of the bounty system. But now look at MyG lost Hermanos, losing grip in the firefights. It feels like the momentum is completely dropped down.
Mad Kings also, if you notice the way they have been performing, there is a major dip in their performance. But you know what really winners do? They pick that Duolingo English test because it is accepted by 6,000 plus universities. So students who are aiming for the higher studies, Duolingo is a test to go for.
I would recommend you guys to move on and check out the Duolingo English test. Take it and let us know how the results were. But back towards the main conversation that we're having, right? Now let's speak a little bit more about FS Esports. If you remember Levi, this man in the official tournament, he was a different beast. Levi was clutching situations that you would not even think. He was Hunters right now. I'm speaking of the officials. That's how good he was playing. But Levi's messed up big time. And we've also got a quick interview lined up on the stage. So let's move on towards that.
K9 जो अभी भी उन 16 टीम्स में बनी हुई है जो शायद आगे प्रोग्रेस कर सकते हैं. स्लग हमारे साथ जहां पे अभी हम लोग खड़े हुए हैं वहां पे लीडर बोर्ड दिखा रहे थे तो K9 ने निंजा बॉय से पूछा हम कहां पे हैं. उसने बोला हम 14th पे. ही इज लाइक यस. आर यू हैप्पी अबाउट द फैक्ट कि तुम लोग 14th पे हो. एंड आज के जो 2 गेम्स हैं चिकन डिनर ऑलमोस्ट चूक गया बट ओवरऑल इफ यू लुक एट इट नॉट अ बैड डे टुडे मैन.
हाँ वैसे अभी शेयर का टाइम थोड़ा खराब चल रहा है बट कोई बात नहीं. आज हमारे मैचेस थे हम लोग पहले से काफ़ी पॉजिटिव है. पहले कुछ टाइम पहले तो बहुत ज़्यादा हमारा वो हो गया था, बहुत एकदम समझ रहे हो दिमाग ख़राब हो जाता था मैचेस खेल के. बट अब धीरे धीरे वापस हम मोमेंटम पकड़ रहे हैं. एंड आज भी मैचेस हमने फर्स्ट जो मैच खेला था वो तो हमने थ्रो कर दिया है, स्टेक 2 आए. बट सेकंड मैच में भी हम फाइट्स तो निकाल पा रहे हैं अब धीरे धीरे. पहले फाइट्स भी नहीं निकाल पा रहे थे बट ठीक है अब पहले से काफ़ी इंप्रूव लग रहा है कि हाँ हम लोग वापस कॉम्पिटिशन में आ जाएंगे धीरे धीरे. अभी क्या है हम लोग डे स्टार्ट पे कुछ 16 से भी बाहर थे तो अब 14 पे आके बोला चलो भाई कोई नहीं धीरे धीरे हो जाएगा.
और यही कोड होगा आई गेस. अगर आपको चिकन डिनर ना भी मिले जरूरी ये है कि आप जितना ज्यादा हाई पोजीशन पे फिनिश कर सकें उससे आपकी रैंकिंग जो है वो इंप्रूव होगी. लेकिन चिकन डिनर अभी भी नहीं आया है. कोशिश जरूर रही है बट समहाउ चिकन डिनर इज इवेडिंग यू. क्या उसकी कुछ बातें हुई है टीम में?
हाँ चिकन डिनर का हम लोग वेट तो कर ही रहे बट ठीक है हमारे बहुत सारे प्लेयर वेजिटेरियन है तो बोल रहे हैं बिना चिकन के क्वालिफाई कर लेंगे. तो ऐसा चिकन मैटर नहीं करेगा ज़्यादा बट ठीक है हर मैच हम लोग एवरेज पॉइंट निकालते रहेंगे 10-12 पॉइंट तो हम लोग टॉप 12 तो बहुत ईजी रहेंगे. बाकी अभी देखते हैं टॉप 4 के लिए हमारा इतना कोई वैसा प्लान भी नहीं है कि टॉप 4 आ जाना क्योंकि पिछले सीजन भी हम लोग जब टॉप 4 आए थे और हम लोग ने क्वालिफाई किया था टॉप 4 आगे बट हम बहुत गंदा खेले थे फाइनल. तो हमने इस बार वो करा है कि अगर आ गए तो ठीक है बट हम फोर्स नहीं करेंगे टॉप 4 के लिए ताकि मोमेंटम रहेगा, बीच में ज़्यादा गैप नहीं मिलेगा मैचेस के.
तेरी एज क्या है यार?
19
भाई 19 साल के एक लड़के ने एक इतनी मैच्योर बात कह दी कि अगर आप टॉप 4 में फिनिश करते हैं तो आप पर प्रेशर बढ़ जाता है. मे बी दैट्स नॉट व्हाट K9 इज लुकिंग फॉर. मे बी दैट्स व्हाट अ लॉट ऑफ टीम्स आर नॉट लुकिंग फॉर. इंटरेस्टिंग. ब्रेक लेंगे और ब्रेक के बाद वापस जुड़ेंगे आपके साथ.
He was taken too soon.
I told him, lag, we have got Snapdragon 8 series Gen 3. Elite performance, unprecedented 144 FPS, 0 stutter and heating.
And yet, he still tried.
A beautiful thing.
Unlock BGMI's new gold spin starting at just 10 UC. Limited time offer on Google Play.
How did we go from bathtub to battleground?
Gemini on Android, bro. Anything can happen.
Press to create videos.
Only on Android.
TVS Raider, the wicked ride.
Real MVPs are not born. They practice every day. For OP moves on the field and in life.
Duolingo English Test. Proud supporters of dreamers and doers.
Unlock BGMI's new gold spin starting at just 10 UC. Limited time offer on Google Play.
Red Bull gives you wings.
The rainforest await for the players to step their foot in the battlefield and make sure this time they are quite aggressive. We have been looking at a lot of bloodshed around the bootcamp vicinity every single time we step in towards the map of Sanhok, but I want to see that drop clash even around Paradise Resort. I want to see that drop clash towards the Camp Alpha Island as well.
I'm sure you remember what really happened yesterday around Paradise Resort. It was completely God's Rain domination. The entire cluster which formed over there, it was God's Rain who was annihilating everyone, and later on went for the southern rotation. It's not like they went for the northern rotation, they went for the southern rotation. It was the entire plan of Destro and the boys which was well executed.
But an important update now, Group B is going to be the one to chime inside of the action, and Group C will be the one to sit out and watch the gameplay. I mean, for Group B, we've got teams like OG, Seoul, Revenant, X-Park, even all these names are quite the heavy hitters. Then you move on towards the mid-packers like NoNx, you move on towards God's Rain. Performance, sometimes it's quite iffy, but when they do perform, we do see a lot of sparks, which are in the positive way.
Well, you can get so many things, Necro. Few of them are available at just 10 UC. I'm talking about the NINZA and Sinistra set. Spin and unlock the set starting at 10 UC only. I'm sure you have got 10 UC, you can get that suit, and I'm also going to try my luck.
Of course we will try our luck, but hopefully the audience is the one to try their luck. And just 10 UC, it's something everyone's got lying around in their account, right? Let's be honest. Everyone's got 10 UC lying around in their account. You just go, spin, and if you're lucky enough, you might just get your hands on that Sinatra set. But once again, back towards the conversation that we're having, right? Middle Esports, struggleful day. Things not looking good, not looking soft. They need to do something. Metal Esports is losing their firefights as well, and that is the only thing that's keeping Metal Esports on the top. And if they start losing firefights, that's concerning.
Metal Esports, the concerns are really there. Like you mentioned, Termi and Aimbot, they have been doing their job pretty decently. I'm sure you remember it was actually Aimbot who did a 1v2 against the players of Mad Kings. It was Apollo on the other side, and later on Aimbot went on to get the chicken dinner. So Aimbot has been performing really good. I don't know the issue lies exactly where. Is it the rotations? Is it the call of Venom because he's the IGL of the team? I don't know. But whatever is happening wrong with the players of Metal Esports, I really hope it gets rectified very soon. But are you anticipating any early drop clash?
I mean, as I mentioned right at the start, the moment we got back on the mics, I mentioned this. We do usually see a lot of bloodshed around that bootcamp vicinity, but I would like to see the same happening around Paradise Resort. I would like to see the same happening around a lot of these known drop locations. Even one of the drop clashes do happen all the way towards Sami, but since Victoria's Sumus is over here, we might see that happening once again. There's a big chance of that happening.
And VS has usually been winning those drop clashes, those power play extra points tend to always go in the favor of VS, but now the big blue bird is going to hit the sky very soon. All the 16 teams are prepped up for the aggressive map of Sanhok.
The plane flap path starting all the way from the left side, from Ruins towards the opposite side, which is Lakawi. And this plane flap path is perfect, dividing the map into two equal halves, but once again, it's the map of Sanhok. It does not really matter. But as we know, the teams will be dropping towards the bootcamp vicinity as well. We might see a drop clash pop up soon around that side.
Highly possible, but let's see if any of the teams is going to go for the dynamic secondary drop location, or are they actually going for the bootcamp drop? But for now, like you said, VS going all the way to the side of Sami. Luckily, I don't see any drop clash happening. It's just the players of Team VS. Team Aryan having that split drop around Ruins, which usually Global Esports tends to go, but this time we don't have the players of Global Esports, so Team Aryan, they are going to feel pretty much comfortable. iQOO all the way towards the side of Painan, and Revenant X Park, they have the entire control of the bootcamp.
Exactly, as I mentioned a while ago, Group C is now going to be sitting it out, and Group B will be the one to chime back inside of the action. Team Aryan all the way towards Ruins. Luckily enough, for the first time maybe in the history of Sanhok, we're not seeing any fight happen towards bootcamp. It's a little bit weird. I'm not really used to it. And we might just not see any sort of drop clashes happen. There is Marcos Gaming right next to the players of OG, and that's one of those drop clashes that's been happening towards Lakawi. As the zone pops all the way down south, MyG lost Hermanos as well towards that Crore vicinity. They're going to find themselves in quite a solid spot.
Yeah, MyG, they can definitely cash on this particular map of Sanhok because the circle is favoring them a lot. Even the players of Orangutan are also looking pretty decent as they have got a 2v2 split. But True Rippers are the one who has been pretty solid recently. The performance which they are bringing on the table is definitely improving day by day, especially Kiu Lamau. This guy has been so good in the entire roster of True Rippers. It was actually Harsh yesterday. I'm sure you remember that particular fight against Edmino. It was so important where Harsh did step up majorly. But for now, we have the players of OG in such a close proximity to the players of MyG. But the main question is, I think WizGod is not even aware about the players of MyG.
I mean, MyG lost Hermanos. Yeah, looking at their position and what they've got, they're always going to be peaceful around that Crore vicinity. It's not even a problem. They will be chilling over there. And since MyG lost Hermanos knows that's also quite a solid spot to hold down, I'm sure they're going to be extremely happy holding it down and playing around that vicinity. On the opposite side, you've also got OG right next to MyG lost Hermanos. And look at WizGod. The man's out in the open, going for a hilltop climb. Instantly goes back pro, and behind that rock spot shadow. Massive mistake for MyG lost Hermanos, and that's going to be free, not gifted. Instant confirmation follows up as well, and WizGod's going to be happy. That's 2 points right there for OG.
One spray and being flattened instantly. MyG not even aware that surrounding awareness is lacking in the players of MyG lost Hermanos. And now they have been left with only 3 players. At the start of the game, I did mention this can be a really good game for the players of MyG. But now, unfortunately, they have been left with only 3 players. There's a bit of hesitation also coming in from the side of OG. They went so close to the remaining players of MyG. And now decides to fall back actually and take a rain check. Interesting decision coming in. Could be possible because Aru, if you look at his position, he's so close to the players of Metal Esports, and maybe OG wants to prioritize that particular fight and actually provide all the support which Aru needs at this point.
Yeah. Metal Esports right next to OG, even that's another thing. Revenant X Park next to the players of Soul, but I highly doubt this fight's actually going to come through. And Revenant X Park, it's one of those teams, even they've lost their groove. I mean, just imagine, this team does not even have the bounty on top of their head. Sitting on the 5th spot, kicked outside off the top 4. A couple of days ago, this team was on top with a remarkable lead. But now look at them, on the 5th, which is a bit concerning. Soul is on the 4th. There's 2 teams in this lobby with the bounty on top of their heads. OG and Soul. Let's see if anyone's able to claim it, because the past 2 games, no one's been able to claim any sort of bounty. And no one is even aiming to claim any sort of bounty.
That's highly unlikely. Since yesterday, we have been noticing that. The teams are not really going for those extra bounty points, except for the players of Team 8-Bit. Because yesterday they claimed bounty not just on one team, but on 2 teams in a single game. That was a quite aggressive side which we saw from the side of 8-Bit. But now since they are sitting out, there is peace in the rainforest of Sanhok, which is highly unlikely. But looking at the circle, we have a completely southern circle. iQOO Soul is so close to the players of RNTX, and we also have got the players of Meta NINZA in the close proximity. Even Metal Esports, they did manage to step away from that fight against the players of Orangutan. And now they are also aiming for that center control. Seems like everyone wants to go for the chicken dinner.
Yeah, seems like it. Everyone's trying to play around that centric part, which makes a lot of sense too. We've been having this conversation around the map of Sanhok, saying that it is a zone-oriented map, and playing from the center is going to be our best shot. And that's what teams are doing. Playing for the zone, trying to capitalize on the circle from the smack center, which makes a lot of sense. But still, the stage 2 can be curveball shift. And you never know. It can shift anywhere.
It can, most certainly, take that curveball shift. But all the teams seems like they have mutually decided that we are not going to go for those bounty points. At least the bottom teams should try to do that. Just like the players of TWOB, Reckoning Esports, FS, even Likitha Esports, they are on the struggling side. If not the bottom, at least the middle pack teams.
Yeah.
Team Aryan, Marcos Gaming, you guys have got nothing to lose. If you win that fight in the power play itself, you'll get extra points.
God's Reign as well, once again playing it passive. Taking their sweet little time, knowing exactly what they need to do. In the center, it's the players of Seoul. Next to him, it's Team Aryan and NINZA. And NINZA is a whole different story as well. They've been playing it passive, waiting for the right moment to strike, but Trace, oh, he whiffs. This could have been a knock on to GodX, but it's completely fine. His teammates got his back. Fury pushes up, gets the confirmation. Revenant X-Spark. Things under control, and man advantage once again found. FS Esports, how do they keep on making mistakes like that? It feels like FS Esports, they've just forgot how they used to play all the way back in the officials.
Lavish, Roman, I'm sure you remember the performance which they were bringing on the table in the very first week. In fact, Scared was the guy who kept mentioning Roman is building his own empire, but seems like that empire is falling down, crumbling down.
Yeah.
Because the performance which FS is bringing in, it doesn't look like it is the same FS. Even TWOB, yesterday on the map of Sanhok, it was actually Metal Esports who completely shredded them apart in the power play itself. That could be a reason for a slow rotation coming in.
But one thing is for sure, we're seeing a lot of pattern shift from the teams. We're seeing the playstyle switch over the weeks, over the days. And maybe that's one of the main reasons why teams like Team Aryan, FS Esports were playing it passive. And those type of playstyles heavily rely on the analysis. And if you do not really have proper analytical data against the teams that you're playing with, and if you want to execute a defensive strategy, it's not going to work out. If you want to play defensive, you need to have the analytical data. You need to have the study. And since we're seeing so many pattern shift, going for a defensive gameplay is not going to work out.
But like Slug mentioned in his interview as well, that he's not eyeing for the top 4 spot. Could be possible that so many other teams are also not eyeing for that top 4 spot.
Yeah, well, if you're eyeing for playoffs, then that's the question.
Yeah. Playoffs are really important.
Playoffs is going to be terrible. Just imagine one day, and you've got to prove yourself to make it towards the grand finals. Man, that sounds like a nightmare. And I'm pretty sure none of these teams would want to go there. At least place yourself in the top 12. I know there's 24 teams going in the top 12. Not everyone can make it. Yada, yada, yada. Understandable. But if you're no name who does have a lot of caliber, who does pack a lot of punch, you should be in the top 12. There's no excuses. You should at least make it to the semifinals. That's the bare minimum we expect.
For example, the players of Reckoning Esports. A big name, an experienced team, such veterans sitting on the 22nd spot. But for now, we have got a situation between VS and Team Aryan where 2 of the players are down from the side of VS, OS and Thunder.
Look, at this point, for all the other teams who are currently under the 20 points marker, they need nuclear performances, and that's the only thing that's going to get them to come back. But hold on to that thought, Chayad! This man is a freak of nature! Pushes up, absolutely unstoppable! Wrecks down the man from Team Aryan, and now continues to be as calm, cool, collected as possible. But Aryan himself now pushes up. He needs to provide the backup and the cover to his teammates. Cooks up a nade. Is that nade really going to find the right spot, though? Tosses it behind the rock, but it's not precise enough. Thunder, the man's brought back up on his feet, and look at Cheyenne, he's already pushed up. He's already up close and personal. Aryan, he's got a lot of utilities to play with, but this nade needs to be on the mark, and if he messes up, that's going to be it. It will be go call for Cheyenne, and Cheyenne is already pushing up, but luckily enough, he's also getting suppressed from the remaining members of Team Aryan. Cheyenne needs to fall back. Aryan's going to be safe. Cyrex pushes up, shuts down Cheyenne. There's Thunder right around the block, and even he will be taken down. Victorious Sumus eliminated from this game as Team Aryan, they make a massive statement.
Team Aryan, they started on a very good note. They were able to take down 3 players from the side of VS. That reset which came in, that did help the players of VS to completely annihilate the players of Team Aryan. But now the circle takes an instant shift. But please, explain this to me, Necro. It was a stage 2 circle. How can someone on the map of Sanhok be knocked out in the play zone? When there is no shortage of those health utilities. Health kits, first aids, there is no shortage of that on the map of Sanhok. And Reckoning, one of the player, Viper, was knocked out by the play zone.
Not exactly sure what's going on with Reckoning Esports, but I just hope they get the issue sorted. And here's the thing, for Reckoning Esports, Viper is the only man standing. Surprise. So yeah, I mean, Reckoning Esports, I'm not exactly sure where the players are or what they're doing, but Viper is the only man who is around the play zone. The remaining 3 players separated.
Maybe in the blue somewhere.
Yeah, probably. But I'm not sure what Reckoning Esports' strat is. It is so questionable.
100%. So many questionable decisions are being made by the players of Reckoning Esports. And speaking of Reckoning Esports, Legit takes one player down. Deals with hefty damage towards the second one as well. But look at the backline support which Legit is getting from the side of Joker as well.
Oh, Soul. Goblin. Now he even aims down against Sensei, and that's going to be another knock. Soul. They've already tasted the blood of Revenant X Park, and they want to continue their prowl. It's the prowess of Soul that's not going to make sure that Soul will be eliminated. Instead, Soul is taking the fight against Revenant X Park and constantly gaining the advantage in that fight as well. Soul is reigning supreme in this fight. And Revenant X Park, Trey Scott is the only saving hope they can have, at least as of now. Knuckle from the back has got the man in pinch. Soul, they've got such a massive advantage, but Soul, even they've lost out on the important man. God's Reign, the push-up from the back, and Soul, they're just going to disengage from this fight.
There is also a third party coming in from the side of God's Reign, where they were able to take one player down from the side of iQOO Soul. But seems like now iQOO Soul, they have got enough time to go for the reset, where Fierce is trying to traverse inside the circle, scuttle back to the safety. Although the mode of transport is not that great, but whatever, helps you. But for our Fierce, spots out Joker out in the open. Not a position where Fierce wants to be in. A single grenade from the side of Joker can do a lot of damage towards him, but actually it is the plus of Medal and God's Reign also locking horns with each other.
Yeah, it's still going to be tough to find a connection though, and that's the thing. But God's Reign, they push up against the players of Metal Esports. Termy's already down. Aimbot and Venom, the only 2 glimmers of hope standing, the only 2 pillars that can save the day for Metal Esports and this banner. Delta cooks up an A, tosses it around this closet room. But the toss is not close enough, and the man's going to be safe. But Venom, he pushes up from the back, eliminating Delta and the entirety of God's Reign. Metal Esports, this is incredible stuff from them. They somehow defend this compound against the players of God's Reign.
And it was the IGL himself stepping up majorly this time. Venom getting 3 out of 4 frags onto the players of God's Reign. Big blunder coming in from the side of GDR. But Medal, they are going to be bunch of happy lads, as I've got 4 initial frags. But they also need to be a bit cautious from the side of RNTX, because even RNTX is also in the close proximity, which might actually go against the plus of Medal.
Once again, you guys can watch BGMS 2025 World Multicam feature for the first time on Geo Hotstar. You guys can watch Hero Extreme, Godlike, Genesis Esports, Metal Esports, 8-Bit, any of these teams. You guys can watch the gameplay from their POV, which is an amazing opportunity. If you're a fan, if you want to learn how the players play, if you want to learn their strategies, you guys can watch it. It's happening for the first time on Geo Hotstar. This multicam feature is great. But back towards the conversation that we're having. OG. Now they need to defend against the likes of FS. And FS Esports, yeah, I mean, they have been beaten up pretty bad. They have been battered up, bruised up. NoNx against Marcus Gaming and NINZA, but NINZA, they're getting absolutely pounded. As NINZA has already lost out in 2 players in that fight, but even the same thing can be said for the players of Marcus Gaming. But within a quick burst, it's Marcus Gaming to come out on top.
Did you see any defense coming in from the side of NINZA? It was a clean and easy squad wipe. Marcus Gaming, they just directly breached into the compounds of NINZA and completely shredded them apart. Where is the defense? Where is the retaliation? Smokes, grenades, anything?
Or maybe it's just Marcos Gaming being better and reigning supreme.
Could be possible, but
yeah,
at least they could have tried something. Yes, I do understand that you have got one more enemy team in the close proximity, that is NoNx Esports. But despite that, it was a quick squad wipe.
Look, at this point, I feel like no matter what you say to NINZA, it's a whole different thing because NINZA is not even taking advantage of the power-ups, which is not a good thing in my opinion. NINZA should go for the power play points. They should go for the bounty points as well. We're not seeing any sort of aggression from the side of NINZA. And that is the only concern from my side, not just in this tournament, even in the past tournaments. If NINZA wants to be the champion, that is not the playstyle that's going to get you there. You need to amp up the aggression. The moment you start bringing up the elimination point, similar to your placement points, that's where the real progress begins. Before now, FS Esports, they've got different intentions as they did go for the shots against OG, but OG replied back pretty well as well. Lovish falls down. OG, they've got the man advantage inside of that fight. While as we move on towards Reckoning Esports, even for them, things are not looking that great. Reckoning Esports pretty disconnected as Flock and Viper are down. And now the remaining two players, Javin and Dionysus, I'm not exactly sure what can be done in the given situation.
2 up against the entire team of MyG, where there is a potential threat of a third party also coming in from the side of True Rippers. Not the best situation for the players of Reckoning to be in, but we also have got a champion lineup in front of us. I'm talking about the players of Team Orangutan, where WizGod was able to get 3 finishes. A great start, but the spray which is coming in from the side of FS Esports gets AKOP and WizGod. A single vehicle in the map of Sanhok is never a good option. Not just 1, but 3 players. The entire team of OG has been sent back to the lobby.
Yeah, but the bounty's not claimed yet, so that's an important point as well. The bounty is not claimed by anyone. FS Esports could have stood a chance to claim that bounty, but not quick enough. OG, they only had 3 players, and FS Esports lost the shot. But this is the Levi we all know. This is the Levi that is supposed to perform every single time the same way. But hold on to that thought. NoNx now against the players of Marcos Gaming. Stone and Bad OP right next to each other, and Bad, he makes the first move. Stone right around the block as well, but Bad falls down to the play zone. Marcos Gaming, the fight's not done yet. They've still got Stone standing on the feet, but in the end, the man gets overwhelmed as he gets eliminated by the man from the side of Seoul. But Knuckle, even he is starting to face the brunt. The Blues on the move. NoNx as well, they need to move inside of the circle. There's Metal Esports and Seoul right next to each other. And NoNx, they're trapped. I don't see any possible way NoNx is going to be able to make it out alive from this spot.
Not possible. It's just the airdrop which is there for the hard cover. And a single player Viper. Even the players of RNTX have also been eliminated. iQOO Joker literally burning in that Molotov. He needs to patch himself up as soon as possible because the players of Metal, they do have a height advantage. And then Grenade and Molotov which Aimbot is trying to cook can actually be the reason to mark an end for that player of iQOO. But fortunately, he is backed off. Still surviving, still breathing. But Metal, this time, they're actually having a good run. 7 finishes on the board.
Metal Esports, Aimbot and Venom, a bit far away from Viper. Joker inside off the safety line. And Viper now needs to make the mad dash. He spots out Venom. A lot of shots are taken. That's going to be a knock as well. Aimbot in the far fray. There's no way. Viper almost won that fight. And he's actually going to somehow make the great escape and also squeeze himself behind the cover. But here's the main issue. He's still not in the safety line yet. And there's Joker right in front. And if Joker tosses this nade to perfection, that's going to be it for Viper.
The connection can be there. It's highly possible, but Viper, his entire focus is onto the players of Metal Esports. He's not aware about the position of Joker. And Joker, this was so close. Viper gets the confirmation onto Venom with a Molotov. This guy walks away with murder, still surviving, still breathing. But finally, he spots out Joker, instantly flushes him out. This guy, Viper, is built different. 10 finishes on the board.
There were 3 solo players right next to each other. 1 from Seoul, 1 from NoNx, and 1 from Metal. But the 1 from Seoul has been eliminated. And still the 1 from Metal stands. And Viper, the man's on the hunt. Viper needs to find that last man of Metal Esports because the longer he stays, the more the threat grows. 10 finishes in the hands of NoNx so far. This is a massive performance from NoNx. And it should continue the same way.
Oh.
Look at Devotee. He's right next to the players of True Rippers. And how did True Rippers not know? Devotee now has a striking advantage. He can actually spoil the day for True Rippers. But Devotee's not striking yet. He first wants to make it inside of the zone because that is the normal thinking. That will be the normal thought process. NoNx, look at Viper. He's now moving up against the players of True Rippers. And True Rippers, they spot at Viper. He pulls out the S12K for up close and personal combat. But True Rippers, soon there will be a lot of pressure even from the back from the side of Devotee. But Devotee's still not striking yet. He's waiting for the right moment to strike. Devotee is now given with a lot of chances. But he's still not grabbing them.
Maybe he's eyeing for the chicken dinner. Roman right in the crosshairs of Devotee. The sheer discipline, the patience, which Devotee is showcasing at this point. He has a lot of information on the players of True Rippers, but finally he strikes and strikes hard towards Hirsch. Instantly knocks him out and knocks out Roman as well. My God, 2 players down, and finally iQOO is the one to mark an end towards him, and True Rippers, they get a winner chicken dinner as well. This team is stepping up majorly. They make sure to deliver a banger performance every single day.
The man advantage enough to overwhelm Devotee from Team Argent. And even the final few men from the side of FS Esports. And speaking of FS Esports, this is finally one of those games that we were asking for from the side of FS. And finally they have delivered too. FS did have an okay amount of elimination points. In the final few moments they were suppressed. But FS Esports had the circle advantage, but they still messed up. Going for unwanted peaks. If FS wanted, they could have played it passive. But Devotee, man, that quick 2-piece was insane. And almost could have actually made True Rippers as well cost their game. Only if FS Esports' men would not have went down by the hands of Devotee.
Could be possible, but so many moments were there in the game. I'm sure you remember what Levi also pulled off against the Plus of OG. Yep. It was a 1v3 situation. Then Metal Venom, the IG also stepping up majorly, but it was entirely True Rippers. And Viper, how can you forget him from the side of NoNx?
Yeah.
This guy also did so much.
Even for NoNx, this was quite a massive game, right? NoNx, if I'm not wrong, they had more than 10 eliminations in this particular game, so that's quite a good game from them. Before now, let's move on to the stage for a quick interview.
लाजवाब है. कुछ दिन पहले हमने एक बहुत ही फनी सी कॉन्वर्सेशन यहाँ पे की थी. IGL is the problem, IGL is not the problem, but I feel True Rippers के साथ कियो there is no problem.
वो तो पहले ही मैं बोल चुका हूँ कि क्वालिफिकेशन एक प्रॉब्लम नहीं हमारे लिए, चाहे ग्रैंड फाइनल्स का हो चाहे सेमीज का हो, दोनों में से एक ना एक जगह हम मोस्टली कर लेंगे. बिकॉज मुझे पता है इवेंचुअली हमारा जो डिफॉल्ट गेम है वो बहुत बेटर है. और लाइक मानता हूँ बीच में ऊपर नीचे लेफ्ट राइट किया हम लोगों ने, बट कुछ ट्राई करना चाह रहे थे और मे बी हम थोड़ा बहुत ऊपर नीचे हो जा रहा था. बट ठीक है, अब हम वी आर बैक.
लेट्स अंडरस्टैंड जो टीम अच्छा कर रही है उनका माइंडसेट क्या होता है. जब आप होटल से यहाँ पहुंचते हैं, आपको पता है आपने मैचेस खेलने हैं, ठीक, तो आपका गोल क्या रहता है? जस्ट टू फिनिश वेल इन बोथ द मैचेस, या थोड़ा सा अग्रेसिव खेलो, थोड़ा सा हाई खेलो और वहां पे कम से कम एक मैच जो जीतने की फुल कोशिश करो?
माइंडसेट ऐसा होता है कि अगर मैं जब बस से निकलता हूँ तो मेरा ये होता है कि मतलब जैसा भी दिन जाए ठीक है, बट रात को क्या खाना है मैं ये सोचता हूँ. मतलब अगर मेरे को, मैं नहीं सोचता गेम कैसा जाएगा, मैं उतना सीरियस नहीं रहता गेम को लेके. मैं क्या खाना पीना ये सब सोचता हूँ, क्योंकि मैं गेम खेलना तो मेरी जॉब है ना गाइस. देखो ठीक है, मैं उसका तो कुछ नहीं, काम है, जिंदगी तो जीनी है ना, जिंदगी तो जीनी है ना भाई. और इवेंचुअली, और देखो ऐसा होता है कभी कभी हमारे फेवर में नहीं जाते दिन, तो सब ये थोड़ी कि मैं मुंह बना के बैठा रहूँ. नया दिन आता है और बहुत सारे मैचेस हैं, तो मैं ये सोच चलता हूँ भाई ठीक है जैसे भी जाएगा, रात को बिरयानी खाऊंगा.
चिकन या मटन?
मटन.
वही होती है बिरयानी. ओके, जेली के चेहरे पे जो भी इमोशंस आते हैं समझ आया था कि टीम की परफॉर्मेंस जो है वो कैसे जा रही है. आज एक अच्छी सी मुस्कान थी एंड ही इज बीन स्माइलिंग अ लॉट. ओवरऑल इज जेली फीलिंग वेरी काम विद द वे द टीम इज परफॉर्मिंग?
हाँ सर्टेनली. जब 10 मैच खराब कर दे तब तो नहीं था मगर ठीक है, वो उनका नेचर है. मैं लगभग 1 साल से खेल रहा हूँ उनके साथ, तो जब आप इतना खेल लेते हो किसी प्लेयर के साथ और खासकर आइजल्स के साथ, तो अंडरस्टैंडिंग बिल्ड हो जाती है. तो मुझे पता है उनका स्पेस है, वो ऐसे ही है, तो मैं इतना ध्यान नहीं देता. ठीक है, अब अच्छा खेलेंगे तो नॉर्मल हो जाएंगे, तो नॉर्मल रहते हैं वो.
भाई जिंदगी का सिंपल फंडा हमें समझा दिया है इक़OO ने. यहाँ आओ, चिकन डिनर निकालो, घर जाओ, होटल जाओ और वहां पे मटन बिरयानी खाओ. Congratulations to True Rippers on picking up another chicken dinner. We'll see you on the other side of the break.
Do it like that. Do it like, do it like that. Do it like that. Do it like, do it like that. Do it like that. Do it like that. Like that. Do it like that. Do it like that. Do it like that.
What's the cheat code, bro?
No code.
So, a script then, or a bot?
No script.
Alright, class, for today's lesson.
I already taught her something.
Bro, we're about to drop.
Just a second. I need to finish this video.
Ask Gemini on Android, it will give highlights.
Press for key highlights.
Only on Android.
TVS Raider, the wicked ride.
Real MVPs are not born. They practice every day. For OP moves on the field and in life.
Duolingo English Test. Proud supporters of dreamers and doers.
Unlock BGMI's new gold spin starting at just 10 UC. Limited time offer on Google Play.
Red Bull gives you wings.
Well, True Rippers and their consistency with the chicken dinner every single day has been going on since the past 2 days now. Finally, they're getting back on that train of chicken dinners, Shadow. And I mean, this is probably the only team who has taken its very sweet time reaching even the double digits in terms of bonus point. But once they did, yeah, I mean, at least now that consistency is looking pretty solid, right? And we're talking about consistencies. We've always got to give a huge shout out to Swiggy for providing those burgers at rupees just 99 on the 99 store with Swiggy. Delivery is free. Make sure you check out that one thing, because that's absolutely tasty. You know, that's exactly what I was doing. That's why I took the break. But coming back to the conversation, Shadow, yes, Sanhok, pretty good map. 4 games for True Rippers, and they've got one more chance right now to maybe do something more.
Well, they certainly do have a chance after this as well. But if the assaulter himself comes and says that I don't think about the game at all, the only thing I think about is biryani, and that too a mutton biryani. Kyo Lamau, he's one of the most funny guy in the arena after Sensei, of course. But yeah, of course, and he's the MVP as well.
You had to put that asterisk.
When was the last time you saw Sensei becoming the MVP? That's the major difference between both of these guys. 6 finishes, 50% finish contribution. The guy has been doing his job perfectly.
That's the calls again that Jelly also makes, right? And the position that Kyo holds now, considering this entire streak of chicken dinners, it kind of began on the map of Miramar a few days ago, where Kyo was the main key for the team to get that big win. And it's been full of him, one of the stars of the match. This is absolutely crazy. 6 finishes overall. He's also got the finisher as well. He's got a couple of rescues. My bro is doing everything.
One man army. That's what he is. The entire roster of True Rippers is built like this, because if you remember Harsh also clutching out against Edwino, it was not a situation. Every single caster and the audience was shocked that Edwino is the guy missing out his shots. But we also have to appreciate Harsh also, because it was not easy being so precise in such a tricky situation, pulling off a move. Kudos to him and the entire team of True Rippers.
I mean, that's also one of the big things that's been happening for them. But this is how the action kicked off as we have a look at the OnePlus Never Settle moments as well. Victorious Sumus against Team Aryan. We almost thought Victorious might have a chance, but with the way how Aryan played that one, yeah, good luck trying to pick them apart though. As Q eventually took control of everything in that entire game, right? Even middle facing a bit of fray happening out there though, but eventually it was a very convincing chicken dinner for the True Rippers.
It most certainly was, but Devotee also from the side of Team Aryan had a lot to do in that situation because this guy actually dealt with so many players. He was the one to put the final nail in the coffin for Roman also of Team FS. And speaking of Team FS, Lavai with that 1v3 coming in. But looking at the match ranking, True Rippers, they are on the top with 22 total points. And as I was talking about Viper of NoNx, 11 finishes on the boards, total 15 points. Viper, he was in a roll. Medal Esports, Venom, a 1v3 coming in from his side. The IGL himself stepping up. 10 total points toward the side of middle. Also, Team Aryan, Devotee, the boys also did fairly well in this map of Sanhok. But iQOO Soul, they had to take an early exit.
The same thing is for OG as well, right? Only 5 points coming in for their side, no position points as well. I mean, yeah, I understand that they've finally pulled their socks up as well, but if they're looking to take away the top spot, it's a bit of a slow approach coming in from them right now. Though, having a look at the overall standings as well, no major changes apart from the fact that OG again, they've claimed their second spot back up. Also looking to make their way back onto that first one as well, considering Genesis will not be playing this one game as well. That one group is going to start things off tomorrow. On the other side, True Rippers finally barging into that top 8, just only 27 points behind 8-bit now. So if this one game goes pretty big for them, maybe they can boost them up one more rank.
If True Rippers is in top 8, someone is out of top 8, and that is the players of Global Esports sitting on the 9th spot with 231 points. Middle Esports slowly and steadily climbing up the ladder on the 10th one. But Likitha Esports, FS, NINZA concerns are real. Mad Kings, they have got Clutch God, such an experienced veteran player. Where is the Mad Kings? 4TR, they got a chicken dinner, not just one but 2 chicken dinners. Still on the last page of the leaderboard. Phoenix Esports, we have been talking about Goten so much, especially Necro, that this guy is capable of doing those 1v3, 1v4. Few bad decisions, and Phoenix Esports, they are still on the last page.
That is one of the big things about Phoenix Esports, that even though Goten is there, he does his own thing. Sometimes we see Jatin finally pull himself back up, but it's not really the full team working as a pack. It's individuals showing their own performances, and I think so that has been the key for Phoenix Esports not being able to pull themselves back up. They really need a big upgrade right now, and probably one of those upgrades could definitely be the OnePlus 13R, ladies and gentlemen. It's got an absolute beast performance with those FPS, has got a massive battery life as well, and of course comes equipped with the Snapdragon 8 3rd-gen processors. I know you love that phone, you would want to check that out, so you know what, we're going to give you that time as well as we move on to a break before the last map of Erangel.
He was taken too soon.
I told him, lag, we have got Snapdragon 8 series Gen 3. Elite performance, unprecedented 144 FPS, 0 stutter and heating.
And yet, he still tried.
A beautiful thing.
Unlock BGMI's new gold spin starting at just 10 UC. Limited time offer on Google Play.
How did we go from bathtub to battleground?
Gemini on Android, bro. Anything can happen.
Press to create videos.
Only on Android.
TVS Raider, the Wicked Ride.
Real MVPs are not born. They practice every day for OP moves on the field and in life.
Duolingo English Test. Proud supporters of dreamers and doers.
Unlock BGMI's new gold spin starting at just 10 UC. Limited time offer on Google Play.
Red Bull gives you wings.
Hopping back into the action, one last map remaining before we end the day as well. Who's going to be the team to try and claim the top spot out here right now? Will it be OG toppling down Genesis, or will it be someone else trying to move back up, ladies and gentlemen, as we have a look at the schedule one more time before we end things? It's Crore ANC that started things off. 40R with the massive chicken dinner, moving on to victorious Sumus, getting one on Miramar with True Rippers having their hands on the map of Sanhok. Falls down into this last map of Erangel as to which one of them can eventually get that win, who can keep the consistency up. Just like Android, it's the consistent sponsor of the BGMS now. That's twice in a row for Season 3 and now Season 4. So a huge shout out to coming their side. But there's also the feature of Gemini which you can use, and it only comes equipped with Android. You can create images just with a voice note. Activate Gemini by long pressing the lock button on your Android device and give it the instructions of the image that you want to create. It can happen instantly. Do check out that feature as well, as I'm pretty sure Shadow is doing exactly that, trying to prepare her own charts out there. Now, before we start the next map of Erangel, Shadow, who's going to win this one?
Throwing me right under the bus at the very start?
Yep.
You know what? I don't really want to jinx anyone. But I know one thing for sure, that this is going to be a really good game for the players of OG, iQOO, and RNTX.
OG, iQOO, and RNTX. Now, those are some interesting names you've picked up. Yes, some safe bets as well, because eventually all of these teams are in the top 8 right now. I'm going to say that maybe it's going to be TWOB pulling their socks up. Who knows? Maybe it's going to be MyG or Hermanos hopping back in, ladies and gentlemen, as we look at the plane fly path starting all the way from Milta Power going down towards Primorsk. Heavily tilted towards south. That means the circle should pop anywhere up north, maybe, if teams would really want to focus down on that. And God's Rain are going to be happy again. Everything absolutely cool for them. NINZA, though, is going to be a team, Shadow, who I will eventually keep a close eye on, because they haven't been looking good.
Everyone has been keeping a close eye onto the players of NINZA. That's the problem, that they are getting an early exit. I'm talking about the teams in the lobby. They're also keeping a close eye onto them.
How things have been going, yeah. I mean, at this point, it's almost going to be one of those things where teams would not really shy away from taking a fight against them, because NINZA haven't really been looking confident at all. If anything, they've been on a massive struggling spree.
Quick question. Any drop clash you are expecting?
Not yet. Considering the wrangle that has been going...
There will be.
Since morning. Not quite expecting any.
There will be.
Ooh.
This is going to be an aggressive wrangle.
Alright, ladies and gentlemen, make sure you make up your popcorns, because this will eventually turn out to be slow, as Shadow said. It's going to be aggressive, and we know what happens when she predicts something. At least in BGMS. In every other place, her prediction is actually pretty decent. Out here right now, though, this aggressive prediction, it's absolutely standing up on point. And guess what? It's Revenant X Parkour right now taking that fight. Trey Scott, my goodness, the man is an absolute beast when it comes to BGMI mechanics right now. Make sure to remind me not to buy any kind of mythic outfit out here, because that's what happens when you use them. Fury lands in the shot along with Trace, who was constantly chipping out the players of MyG, Hermanos, Shadow, and they are losing every single player left, right, and center.
Just like you had doubt on my prediction, seems like the players of MyG also had doubts onto the players of RNTX, and that's the reason they went all the way towards the side of Milta, which has been a home ground of Sensei. And I told you, this is going to be a fast, aggressive Erangel. Reckoning also, Esports also on the verge of elimination, as Legend gets a confirmation onto Dionysus. I told you, Reckoning on the verge of elimination, by the way, because this is iQOO Soul, who is on the hunt. And tell me the 3 names I told you who are going to go crazy in this one. RNTX, they have 8 points already. iQOO, they have already started on an aggressive note. And third one is OG towards the side of Milta Power. They have the benefit of the circle and maybe they can clash against the players of TWOB.
Highly possible as well. That's also one of the team that is eventually having a bounty on their head. So we've known OG to not shy away from these kinds of fights whenever it comes down to it. So I'm looking forward to maybe an aggressive start from the Apes right now though. An answer coming in on the heads of iQOO from Reckoning. They get a knock in confirmation too as Viper. He will secure the first one. Unconventional circle though if you really look at it right now. And Godstrain will have to make the fast move, Shadow. I'm going to move the conversation towards them because the last time, or rather times before that, we have seen these kinds of circles on Erangel. They always decide to make their move with somewhere around the Novorepnoy bridge where true Rippers camp that bridge. And they have had troubles rotating from there. They lose an early member, sometimes maybe 2. That disrupts their entire rotational plan. And then when comes stage 3, stage 4, they do not find any point of breaching in. And they always end up losing the fights at the edges.
Watch Destro move into the circle with ease. My predictions are coming true, by the way, today. Not just today, every day. But just to remind you, a humble reminder. Humble reminder for the players of Meta NINZA to not be out there in the open, as well as the players of FS are also in the close proximity. Initial lock coming in. Trade is there. Weird Baba gets one onto Roman and Levi as well, the guy who stepped up majorly in the previous one, but this time he gets one more onto Reaper. 3 players down from the side of Meta NINZA. It all comes down to Poco with a UMP 45 in his hands. UMP versus PP Bison. Which one is going to reign supreme? And it is going to be UMP 45. Poco of Meta NINZA saves the day for the team, but can he really save his teammates? That's the main question, because we also have the players of NoNx in the close proximity. And why on earth on every map we have Meta NINZA and NoNx sharing the same compounds?
It just happens. It's a date for destiny happening out here right now. NoNx constantly stealing away some of those elimination points, still only managing to get one. But Meta NINZA should be happy technically, I'll have to say, because given the circumstances, they found out the best possible result. Got the entire life sucked out of the members of FS, and also have got one member that is surviving and can eventually get some of those position points up in the future.
8 points, definitely going to help the case of Meta NINZA. One of the players is still surviving, by the way. He can go for those position points. But FS, we were talking about them in the previous one, that how Levi was able to step up, get those frags, get those finish in the favor of his team. But cut to next Erangel. They're the first one to be eliminated. I'm sorry, the second one to be eliminated from the lobby. Consistency has been a problem for the middle pack teams. That is why they're not able to step up in the leaderboard in the top 10. Metal Esports recently, they are trying to step up. They are bringing in the consistency, especially the previous one also. But we have got Reckoning going up against the players of Marcos Gaming. 2 players already down. It's only Noddy remaining. A 1v3 situation right in front of him.
That's a bit of a problem coming in from their side right now as Viper and Flock, they try to find out that last member as he runs away from the fight, shows the back to try and save his life. And that's Reckoning instantly destroying 2 players of Medal. They've still got a couple of members remaining right now. Noddy's running all the way on the other side, trying to clear the flank. Angle is bad. He's got a chance, turns around only to be destroyed. He sees his death, but he can do nothing about it. As now the call is given, Noddy is going to play for life.
All it takes for any team to come back in the game and get those few extra finish points and deliver a good performance is just Necro criticizing them. He was criticizing the players of Reckoning Esports at why they are at the bottom. And finally, Reckoning is going for those early commotions, especially in the power play. 4 finishes, that means 8 extra points. That is definitely going to help the case of the players of Reckoning Esports. But iQOO, they lost on to Joker at the very start. And it was, correct me if I'm wrong, actually the players of Reckoning Esports who eliminated Joker.
That early clash between RGE and Soul. That's what resulted in that. Now, here's the big thing, right, Shadow? I agree that now Reckoning are playing good, right? They're playing aggressive. I absolutely am okay with that. But now they've got to eye out for only the top 12. They can't go in the top 4 at this point. It's just way too far away. And if you want to barge in the top 4, then you would have to make sure or at least pray that the top 6 teams are having bad games consistently.
I hope you remember what Genesis pulled off.
Don't bring
50
those... Yeah,
bomber.
nah, that ain't happening.
And not just Genesis, RNTX getting 86 points in a single day.
That's what I'm saying.
8-bit dealing with 2 bounty teams when so many shenanigans are happening in the lobby.
Exactly my point. All the top 8 teams are the ones who are getting all of
They can also
that.
do that. They have got the capability. That's what I'm saying.
Every single team has pulled that once. They
It
haven't
takes
been
one
pulling
game.
it in every single game. And yes, I know they need to pull it once, but 40 points right now is not going to cut it. I'll say it straight up right now. They're at 140. 40 to 50 point game, yes, 190, but they're still 100 points behind the other teams.
That is going to give such a confidence boost to the players of Reckoning
That is
Esports
true.
that after that it is going to be a snowball effect. They will eventually get the points.
Hopefully.
They just need one good game, one chicken dinner, a high fragging chicken dinner. And that is what they're trying to do. Just like Aru is trying to deal with the players of Likitha Esports. And Likitha has also been on the struggling side. Magic knocked out 2 players down from the side of Likitha Esports. Rotations are a problem. 4v4 fights are a problem. Third party is a problem. Everything seems like a problem for the players of Likitha Esports at this point. Even for the players of OG, as Atanki has been knocked out.
Right now, the third party is going to be a problem for OG, as you perfectly mentioned. Are we eventually finding that one angle? Atanki all the way out in the open, in the wild. There's absolutely no way OG can get the revival up on this man. Until and unless they wipe out TWOB in the next 5 seconds. It's just not happening. And as soon as TWOB get the confirmation on them, they will know that it is OG. If not already read from the elimination feed, which was happening up in front of them. So that's one thing. Confirmation out here. Both of the teams know who they're dealing with. Now the question is, will TWOB go for the bounty? Because this is the only team that can claim the bounty on OG right now. And Reckoning is the team that can claim the bounty on Soul. No one else can do that.
Scared. Can you see the players of God's Train? Where are they?
They made it in the center overall from the ferry pier bridge.
That is where they go. Every time. They always go for the military base bridge. True Rippers, they are still waiting on the no reply. It is Destro we are talking about. Military base belongs to him since a very long time. And speaking of God's Train, Neo finds an opener. What are the players of VS, I guess? Let's see if we can actually get the confirmation point as well. And as I was mentioning, that it is Destro we are talking about. No matter what the circle is, he always makes it safely inside the circle. And I believe it was Thunder who was knocked out. But once again, back on his feet.
Yeah. He's the one who's absolutely got low HP. Needs to patch himself up right again. Don't really want to get handicapped out there, considering there's NoNx close by. There's also iQOO Soul as well.
Uh-oh. Chicken dinner for Reckoning? Let's not jinx it.
I mean, maybe. I would really be happy to see them, right? Because I remember a couple of days ago on the map of Erangel itself, in one of the last few games, they were up against 4TR, if I'm not wrong, for that very last fight. Or rather, it was, I believe it was 4TR. Yeah, Medal was taken down early on in that fight. That was when they had the opportunity, but 4TR stole it away from them.
Sensei.
So it could be possible that they might pull that chicken dinner off. And if that happens, then they can build upon the momentum which you were talking about. Really need to get it right here, right now. Any more days wasted will be a big problem right now. OG getting their fights in on the right members. It's Aryan who are being falling as Revenant X Park. Oh my goodness, Trace jumps out of the vehicle himself. bit of a problem happening here and there, and if you're really focused on looking at the problems of certain teams and how they deal with it, you want to check out the multicam feature on Jio Hotstar specifically. Right now, True Rippers absolutely wipe off the members of Revenant X Park. 4 finishes for them, an early start. That was a good one, but it's True Rippers ripping them apart with the momentum they have built up from the previous map.
Not just the previous, few past days, I'll say. The momentum has been rolling in their favor since last few days, but now we also have the players of TWOB in the close proximity. But as we were talking about the players of Reckoning having that northern control, guess who went for the northern control? It is the players of Team iQOO Seoul having that entire school apartments control towards them. But True Rippers, like you said, easy 4 finishes, a good control of the terrain, but unfortunately the circle has moved away from the side of True Rippers. Now they have to go for the rotation, and during that process they can actually clash against the players of TWOB or maybe the players of Orangutan as well. So True Rippers, they have to carry out their rotations very carefully, because towards the southern side, God's Train and VS, they're maintaining a dominant control. But OG, this is a pretty slow game for the players of OG, by the way.
I want to see how they convert this one, right? Because they've already lost on to Atanki. Atanki has been one of the main key for this team, considering the performance of the past few days. Having a look at what happened to Revenant X Park here. I mean, how many times has it been? A nice small victory dance of Kyo happening there. But how many times has it been where every single one of us has probably said it on the desk that it is not a good decision to rush on anyone in one single vehicle?
Basically every day we keep mentioning it. But what do you do if you don't get your hands on those vehicles?
Don't rush.
You have to rotate inside the circle, Scared. I'm sure you have played the game of BGMS and you do realize that there are certain circumstances where the only option left with you is just to traverse in a single vehicle. This has happened with me so many times. I've been on the receiving end, I've been on the other end as well.
And right now, the team who are going to be on the receiving end of the circle is going to be True Rippers themselves on the extreme opposite end towards the farm. As the circle moves in a bit more towards the west. But a few teams, they're going to be happy. One of them is going to be Team Aryan, considering they can gatekeep OG on this potato hill. If they decide to make their move in. True Rippers will also slowly end up barging in from the same place, or maybe just a little bit to the northeast, maybe. Right above OG and Reckoning. We'll have to wait and see.
You know what's Scared? The compound which the players of Metal Esports are holding on to. I have played BGMS so many times. I'm not really a fan of that compound. You don't have too much breathing space. If you move out of the compound, there is no hard cover. So Metal, I'm not sure what the decision was, but thankfully the circle has moved away from that compound and now they have to carry forward their rotation, but they need to be a bit cautious from VS. But iQOO Seoul upon our screens, they have been having parallel rotation. iQOO Seoul and TWOB and Marcos giving Noddy as well. 3 teams, a strife factor. Let's see how this is going to pan out eventually, because they both are aware about their position but not really committing to the fight. But True Rippers, they are definitely committing against the players of Orangutan out in the open. Aru being spotted by Jelly. The spray comes in, but the vehicle is still protecting the player of OG.
Yeah.
But the main question is for how long?
That's the big thing right now. The cover fire is also coming in. But it's all about who gets that flank angle. Right now there's AKOP. If he gets the side onto the members of True Rippers, yeah, that's going to be pretty difficult for them to deal with. But if they realize that AKOP is isolated in that compound, then everyone from True Rippers can go and slam onto him. They can instantly take him down, and then they will put OG down to just 33% of their firepower. That could be a big problem coming in for OG right now, as AK tries to fire in a few more shots out there in the fray with the vehicle moving in zigzag pattern. Can't really land in anything perfectly as the blue will force him as well to make a move. On the other side of the fray, it's Aru. Will eventually have his open arms against the members of True Rippers, but that's Aru and Wes who will be trying to hold it all down right now. Some shots being fired, but it's every single direction. The hovercraft moves up in and Aru will be taken down. Wes falls as well. A perfect rush from True Rippers, a perfect slam coming in from them. Destroy the apes right at the border, eliminating them at the 12th spot. Not a good start for the apes. But on the other end, it's an early exit for NoNx, being sent back home packing. And you mentioned about Medal holding that compound, which was not good. Guess what? You predicted it. Victorious Sumus, the team eventually pinched them off between them and NoNx, destroyed them out.
You know why my predictions always come true?
Go for it.
Because I've grinded the game for number of hours. And also I've casted. But for now, Team Aryan, and also I've got the map feed, which the players don't have. Call it cheating, but perks of being a caster. Team Aryan, Devotee, this guy was on a roll in the previous map of Sanhok, but you mentioned yesterday only that True Rippers, they do have a bit of love for that hovercraft. In all those tricky situations, they directly slam in with the hovercraft towards the opponent team and turn their entire fight in their favor. But we have two fights going on. iQOO Soul up against the players of TWOB, Team Aryan against the players of True Rippers. And mind you, scared, True Rippers, they have the height advantage. This is a doomed fight for the players of Team Aryan.
The only big problem there is that it's all the way outside of the zone. So True Rippers, they have to finish this up quickly as possible as iQOO falls. They already had lost Hirsch a bit early on right now, so Henry is going to make sure that that wound bleeds. It's not healing. Henry himself is just one of the last two members remaining. Devotee on the other side as well. Oh, some shots being fired out from the other fray. Henry doesn't have enough time to heal as well. Super low in that HP and the pump shot right on the face. Jelly will finish up the job, but he's got to try and pull himself back up. As Hydro is kind of losing himself out in the open right now. He's going to move up with the hovercraft as well. As TWOB and S8QL lock horns are so up on top. Mac is still remaining out there, so that's something you'd have to deal with. Victorious Sumus will be gatekeeping Jelly. 3 teams looking absolutely prime for taking this chicken dinner. Reckoning, God's Reign, and Victorious Sumus.
Legit, the only man standing from the side of Team iQOO Soul. But on the other end, you also have God's Reign going up against the players of VS.
Beautiful.
And suddenly God's Reign, they have the entire circle control. But Legit, despite being a single player left, finds a knock onto one of the player of TWOB. With that grenade, the rush comes in. It's the DBS on the other side. And Legit makes the best out of the players of TWOB. A 1v2 converted beautifully in the favor of iQOO Soul. 4 finishes, and TWOB, they have been sent back to the lobby. But look at the position of God's Reign.
They've got the full control of the map.
This is their game to lose, Ked.
Absolutely, they're fully taking control. They know every single thing that's happening around the map. The only thing that's not in their favor right now is the fact that Victorious Sumus have got the high ground. But it's not going to stay with them for long because the circle will move away. And that's going to create problem. Maybe that's one thing, like a blessing in disguise that can happen is if Reckoning decide to take fight against God's Reign. But guess what? The circle is still favoring them. They've realized that Destroy is going to give the call to bring his men back. And it's an open field out in front of you. No sorts of covers whatsoever. So it's got to be a... Legit is going to stay alive for a little bit longer. But it's got Noddy to worry about, to be honest. And then again, Reckoning will have their eyes to slam onto those compounds as well as Viper hops out of his vehicle. But they eventually delete Noddy in an instant. And they also know that Legit is here.
The problem for Legit is not Marco's gaming Noddy, but VS and Reckoning, as they both are going for the northern rotation. In fact, the players of Reckoning have already made it inside the compounds where Legit is. And Viper, he's aware that someone is there with those grenades. Maybe they can try to get the information towards Legit. But look at Legit holding on to such a pivotal angle. Just in case if Viper or Flock comes out in the open, Legit can instantly spray them down. But seems like the smoke cover is going to help the players of Reckoning Esports. They are not taking their chances at all. Checking every corner of that squad house. Legit on the rooftop, still holding on to the stairs angle. So much smokes being deployed. In the meanwhile, even the players of Meta NINZA have been eliminated on the 5th spot. Legit, if he pulls out this clutch, I'm sure all the fans of iQOO Soul are going to be really happy. But if Reckoning maintains the northern control and go for the chicken dinner, this is going to be a huge comeback game for the players of Reckoning.
Big storyline to pull for themselves. And it's absolutely going to be a fairy tale if that happens. But it could be said for Legit as well, if he stands strong, if he stands his ground. He will, without a doubt, go down as one of the best assaulters of Soul in BGMS Season 4. Because he's been constantly putting those numbers up every single time. And the more Reckoning delay this push, the more problem it's going to become for them to try and bring themselves back in this game entirely, because Victor's Sumus have taken in the entire eastern fray, God's Reign have taken the entire south and western fray. So they will not really have any map space to work around and play with. And there are no lurkers apart from just Legit. It's the only man remaining. They were just waiting for all the smokes to dissipate. I'm not sure if all of them have or not. There could probably still be one. But they've got to re-clear this first floor again as Legit sits up all the way on the second.
Here's the thing. If the circle forms on this very compound, I think Reckoning can delay this rush. But if the circle moves away from their side, then the problem is going to be there.
Yep.
Because Legit, he has got the DBS, and finally the grenade right in the face of Legit. The info was there. They checked every corner of the building. They knew he's holding on to the stair angle, and there are so many avenues that you can lob a grenade right in the face in that particular direction, and that is exactly what Viper did. Now 3 teams remaining. God's Reign, they still have the circle control, but Justin is holding a completely different angle.
He's got
and
the off
VS,
angle.
they're still holding on to each other. Actually, Justin was there just in case if the circle takes a western shift. But now the circle has taken a concentric shift. He'll reunite with his teammates.
But do you think it's better to reunite right now or just wait to find some other team on either of the other frays? Like, gather the information.
Wait, Reckoning is also moving.
Exactly. And I think so. Reckoning will be in the sidelines of both Victor's Sumus as well as Justin from the other side.
Exactly. And that's the plan which Destro has right now. Because in such situations, IGL always knows that someone is there who will try to traverse from the northern side of the circle. And that is why Justin is still there. But finally, just few seconds.
Yeah. He's got to make a mad dash inside the circle and rendezvous with the team. They don't have all the numbers to play with. So they're going to try and reunite. They also know that Victor's Sumus is also one man down. It's a 3v3v3 coming in right now, and Reckoning have pulled down a decision to move over towards the west. Can't really try and brute force their way towards Victor's Sumus. They had the height advantage. And now they've got the small ridge to play around with against God's Reign, and Justin will gain the information with the vehicle.
Look at the amount of patience which the players of God's Reign are showcasing at this point. The entire attention of Reckoning is towards VS. And VS is also focusing on the players of Reckoning. And always Destro love doing this. Whenever last 3 teams are remaining, God's Reign, Destro, Neo, these guys stay silent. They wait for the right moment to strike. And that is exactly what they are doing. This looks like a chicken dinner for the players of God's Reign.
Circle is going to define who's going to have that advantage right now. The trifecta up in front. The triangle already forming between these teams as the diagonal short lines we can see on the screen as well happen. 10 more seconds for the suspense to be answered. Where will the circle move? Holy smokes! Still a pretty centric shift. And this is stage 8 we're talking about. One of the last shifts out there, but this could probably be enough to push them in each other's sidelines.
God's Reign is still silent. Reckoning and VS, they both are not aware about God's Reign. They're aware that there is one more team which potentially could be on the other side of the ridge. but their focus is on to each other. Especially the way Flock is crawling towards VS, always right in front of him. I'm telling you, Scared. The moment Reckoning and VS go up against each other, that is when God's Reign is going to push in, especially Neo. I'm sure this guy has got few good grenades and Molotovs. And with that, they'll try to steal the chicken dinner. This is just the silence before the storm.
I love the position of Neo and Oasis at the same time.
Mafia.
Considering it's going to stay just like this, even during the stage 9, the blue will push the players on the edges first. Yes, Justin and Destro are the first ones to be pushed up, but then it's going to be Reckoning. And right now, God's Reign have got the full sightlines onto the members of Reckoning as well.
Destro is having a certain height advantage. He has got a clear line of sight on the players of Reckoning. And like you mentioned, if the blue starts squeezing them in, Destro can actually get the better out of the players of Reckoning Esports. Just look at that. The angle which he's holding on to. More than Justin, Destro can do a lot of damage towards Reckoning Esports. And I'm sure that is what he's planning to do as well.
He can. And given that Reckoning lose their patience first right now, and they lose the patience first, instantly get destroyed by Destro. You called out for it. And it happened. 3 more seconds for the blue to push every single one of them up right now. It's down to a 3v2. Reckoning losing their chances as well as Flock gets fired upon from the other side. Oasis shutting down his ex-teammate, the one that he played for such a long time with. Brothers in arms are now absolute enemies. Javin on the blue, making his move. Super low. The nade cooked to perfection. Straight up on the face. Goes a bit far wide. Sends another one onto Javin's side as he burns alive. Play zone deletes him. It's down to the last 2 teams right now. God's Reign though, but I think so they might have missed their opportunity.
Not really. They still have the chance to convert this one. They just need to be careful from the side of Mafia because Oasis, they are very much aware about Oasis' position because Justin, he was the one dealing with the players of Reckoning Esports. Yes, Justin is watching the flank angle, but still Mafia and Cheyenne, their angle is also very critical. The barrage of grenades which is coming in from their side. And look at the sheer patience of God's Reign.
They were the perfect positioning.
Battle of the grenades.
My question is, how many smokes does VS have? They've got to create that smoke wall right now, right here. And it seems like they don't have any. So they're going to cook up those frags to try and send them out. Sending in the barrage of util. One is right next to Neo as well, but it only chips him down to half. Had that been a knock, this would have been entirely different, but he sends another. But he's still surviving by the skin of his teeth as Victorious are going to be slammered down at just one place, and it's Justin to ruin their dreams. The flank angle from him is the exact nail they needed in Victorious Services' coffin as God's Reign will reign supreme on the last map of Erangel.
You mentioned Justin holding on to a very critical angle, and seems like that one position, that one lad proved to be an absolute problem for the players of VS, taking down not just one but 2 players of VS. Did help the players of God's Reign to convert that winner chicken dinner. Oasis is obviously not so happy because they were hoping this is going to be a chicken dinner game for them because of the position advantage, but the barrage of util which came in from side of VS didn't found any connection, and that was the main problem for VS.
I mean, I'd have to say, even if Neo would have been knocked down right then and there, I don't think so the result would have changed. One of the big reasons is that no idea about Justin.
Yeah.
And he would have had clear lines of sight onto every single player there. So regardless of them finding the first knock, I'm pretty sure Justin would have still answered back in the exact same manner. And then Destro would have spotted up the rest of the members to send it all down. Ladies and gentlemen, I spotted Suren out there on the stage. So let's send it down to him to see what he's got to ask.
भाई महंगी महंगी घड़ियां रखी हैं टेबल पे, और वो इसलिए क्योंकि ये प्लेयर इतने कमाल के हैं. गॉड्स रेन पिकिंग अप अ चिकन डिनर. डेस्ट्रो, अब क्या पूछूं, बिकॉज ये आदत बना ली है, कंसिस्टेंसी पर्सोनिफाइड आपकी टीम. दिन में एक ना एक ऐसा मैच होता है where you guys just put everybody on silent mode.
नहीं, मतलब हम इतना सोचते नहीं है. We just try to stick to our basic game, and वही है, अगर आप बेसिक्स पे स्टिक करते हो, गलतियां नहीं करते हो, तो मैचेस कन्वर्ट हो ही जाते हैं.
विक्टोरियस समस के साथ आपकी वो फाइनल बैटल सर्कल बहुत ही छोटा हो गया था. वर देयर एनी नर्व्स जस्टिन एट दैट पॉइंट ऑफ टाइम, क्योंकि वो भी बहुत अग्रेसिव खेल रहे थे, तो इट वाज ऑलमोस्ट कि जिसकी बाजी लग गई वो वहां पे मैच जीत गया.
नहीं, मैंने काउंटर एंगल पकड़ लिया था, तो मतलब काइंड ऑफ फॉर श्योर ही चिकन था, क्योंकि मैं एक ऐसा ऑफ एंगल पे था जो मतलब वो प्रिपेयर्ड नहीं थे उसके लिए.
हाउ डज इट फील टू गेट बैक टू फॉर्म?
इट ऑलवेज फील्स गुड.
यार जब जस्टिन और डेल्टा फॉर्म में आते हैं तब ट्रॉफी के चांसेस जो हैं वो GDR के लिए बहुत ज्यादा बढ़ जाते हैं. हाउ गुड इज देम कमिंग टू द पार्टी एट दिस स्टेज?
आई मीन जैसे कि आपने बोला, ये फॉर्म में आते हैं ट्रॉफी के चांसेस बढ़ जाते हैं, बट वो ये कभी कभी ऊपर नीचे चलता रहता है. राइट नाउ थिंग्स आर गोइंग गुड फॉर अस, नॉट जस्ट बोथ ऑफ देम. नियो भी अच्छा ही खेल रहा है. आई थिंक ही इज इन द MVP लिस्ट एज वेल. तो सब बढ़िया ही कर रहे हैं, वो सब दिमाग में नहीं होता है. वी नीड टू स्टिक टू आवर बेसिक्स एंड अच्छा अपना जो प्लान्स होते हैं एग्जीक्यूट करने आते हैं बस.
स्केल ऑफ 1 to 10 आज का दिन कैसा रहा?
आई वुड से 7.
Alright. Destro, one of the former champions, उनकी टीम इस आखिरी मैच में निकालती है चिकन डिनर. Once again showing their consistency. लेंगे एक ब्रेक और लौटेंगे जल्द.
Bro, we're about to drop.
Just a second. I need to finish this video.
Ask Gemini on Android, it will give highlights.
Press for key highlights.
Only on Android.
TVS Raider, the wicked ride.
Real MVPs are not born. They practice every day. For OP moves on the field and in life.
Duolingo English Test. Proud supporters of dreamers and doers.
Red Bull gives you wings.
He was taken too soon. I told him, lag. We have got Snapdragon 8 Series Gen 3. Elite performance, unprecedented 144 FPS, zero stutter and heating.
And yet, he still tried.
A beautiful thing.
Captain Cool of BGMI. And I mean, you can really just say at this point, right, that Destro is one of those most consistent IGLs out here happening up, who's making sure that he's constantly drinking that Bisleri water because he's got to keep his cool. And ladies and gentlemen, now, since we're already on this topic, Shadow, a big game to be converted out here. And it's one of the big key points which you mentioned as well, that God's Reign taking the rotation all the way towards the Ferry Pier Bridge. That eventually led them to have the good positioning in the circle and then utilize that terrain to their advantage. I think so that was the big key for them.
More than that, I think Justin also did mention, and you were also mentioning it quite frequently in the cast, that Justin holding on to that angle was so important, and that eventually led to the winner chicken dinner. I have to give it to you. You have got some telepathy skills.
Thank you so very much for that. I mean, I learned that from you as well. A pretty wholesome moment out here on desk between me and Shadow. Don't usually see that happen that often too. But yeah, now since we're talking about things that we don't usually see happen that often, Reckoning being in the top 3.
Yes.
One of the key plays, right? Did not convert the chicken, but it's absolutely fine. At least they were in the top 3.
They most certainly were, and all thanks to Viper with 4 finishes and 57% finish contribution. The entire team, it was not a passive game for the players of Reckoning. They were actually going for those frags and the finish points. In the power play also, good rotations were there from the side of Reckoning. But let's have a look at the stars of the match. Viper, the guy going all out. Then the best companion is Cheyenne from the side of VS with 1 rescue and 2 assists.
Neo is going to be the man who finished things off. 2 finishes for himself as well. And he's also been one of the key players for the side of God's Reign, constantly getting those frags in on point as well, standing up with the grenades. He's clutching up some big and important rounds. When Justin and Delta fail, Neo is the fail-safe key for the side of God's Reign. And that's also what Destro mentioned on the desk itself. So I think so if all of these 3 tools work fine, Destro can give out his big brain calls for his team to make more chicken dinners converted in his favor.
Well, they certainly can, because the entire team of God's Reign looks like the entire momentum is going in their favor. They're always the calm and composed one, unlike the players of team MyG lost Hermanos, who went against the players of RNTX. I don't know what they were thinking. Filter has always been the home ground of RNTX.
It kind of moves in the direction where, you know, we've been talking about the consistency time and time again. I'd have to say, MyG lost Hermanos were consistent in converting the first fight in the power play. Regardless of the number of members they would lose, they would end up winning that fight. So 8 points would never go anywhere from them. And that's why we were seeing them hover around somewhere between that 9th to 12th spot, constantly keeping that position. But since the past 2 days, they have been failing to convert those fights. And I think so that's one of the big reasons why they've dropped down so low constantly. Now, since we are talking about that, we'll have a look at the match rankings as well. Not a very high scoring game out here. 17 for God's Reign, 16 for Reckoning.
16 total points. I think this is one of the best game of team Reckoning Esports. Even the players of NINZA fared off really well in this one. Total 12 points to their name. Then we also have the players of VS with 11 points. The consistency is actually coming in from VS and True Rippers. They're actually performing better day by day. This time True Rippers, even though they were eliminated pretty early in the game, thanks to those 9 finish points which they have. But Likitha, LHS, Medal, I have no idea why Medal was holding on to that compound. Maybe they didn't find any other compound. I don't know, situation might have forced them to go over there, but that turned out to be a bad decision.
Bit of a lack of experience, I'd have to say, in that scenario, so not really helping them out so much per se. But one of the big points that you mentioned, Meta NINZA as well, having a good game coming in for their side, and it's all thanks to Poco. After that full conversion onto FS, he eventually ran away, played for his life, and that was a good decision. Finished off at the 5th place, getting 3 position points as well. They were able to convert that game pretty well. Having a look at the overall standings right now, 30 games for OG and Soul, 298 and 291. That means Hero Extreme Godlike and God's Reign tomorrow, since they will play 4 games, they will rank up higher than them if things go according to the script, which seldom they do, ladies and gentlemen, as we can see Global Esports on 9th spot. MyG lost Hermanos, dropping down to 13, but some nice upgrades for Aryan and Victor the Sumus.
Yeah, Team Aryan also Devotee performing really exceptionally well in the map of Sanhok. But on the last page, we still have got TWOB, Phoenix Esports, Likitha Esports, Reckoning. Yes, they are not at the bottom like 24th spot, but still on the last page with 150 points, 21 point difference between Meta NINZA and Reckoning Esports. It's not going to be an easy journey for Reckoning to propel themselves in the top 12.
That's also one of the key things that I noticed. And also, did you look at the points of TWOB and Phoenix? 2 more days and I'm pretty sure they're going to be 200 points behind the top 4 teams.
That's gonna hurt.
They're almost 160 points behind already right now, and yes, that is definitely going to hurt. Just like the players on this list, really, ladies and gentlemen, it's the TVS Raider Wicked player list. And Admino, still standing up, still standing strong, and he started things with a bang today against MyG Los Hermanos.
If you notice, the point difference, the finish difference between Ermino and AKOP is not that much. It's only 3 finish difference. 58 is what AKOP is having with 33% finish contribution. Justin, the guy, on the 6th with 52 finishes and 30 matches and 34% finish contribution. Slowly and steadily, even Q Lamau of True Rippers is also stepping up. 49 finishes, that too with 36% contribution. And 30% contribution somewhere that showcases that it is actually an entire team game. Finishes are equally distributed between all the players. Even Jonathan is also there.
Man, oh man, but there's Robin right up in front of us because we are moving on to the TVS wicked moments out there, and this is a wicked upgrade. The Raider iQOO brings segment's first GTT digital cluster with 85 connected features, and it's a best-in-class upgrade out here for yourself, ladies and gentlemen. And guess what? The man standing on it is definitely Robin. And his team eventually got that chicken in the last one as well. So absolutely a wicked upgrade for this entire roster out here. But you mentioned about that perfectly as well. One more key point out there that happened was also, you know what? I'm going to keep that as a suspense right now. I'm going to focus down on the QR code because yes, I'm hungry. And yes, I'm going to scan the QR code to order some burgers for myself. Probably going to add one for Shadow as well because she's been really sweet out here right now. But we've had 26 total 99 finishes till now. And look at the total number of finishes. That's racking up day by day.
Yeah, definitely 26 times 99 finishes have been collected by all the players. But looking at the Red Bull Max finishes, we have got Ermino on the top with 61 finishes. And in fact, he has got the blue cap also. And I'm sure he's going to maintain that for a very long time. AKOP on the second spot with 58 finishes. Trace God on the third with 55 finishes. Hunters on the fourth with 54.
He's been maintaining this blue cap for himself for the past 3 days now. So you can clearly see the consistency and the firepower of Godlike now coming into play as well. And that's why we are seeing up them in the top 5 right now, Shadow. And you know, one of the key points that I wanted to mention was the fact that Ermino has a lead of 3 finishes. And at the same time, he's played 2 less games than AKOP. So obviously, he's going to rack up some more finishes. But all of that, ladies and gentlemen, we all have been talking about, and we know it's going to happen tomorrow right here, Group C with 4 games. And I know none of you Godlike fans want to miss that out. So make sure you tune in tomorrow as well. Till then, bye-bye.